weeks of regular season play here in the EGFC Season 5, at least for the fall semester of Overwatch play. I'm Time to Light. Joining alongside me here is Twin Salty for our week before the penultimate week of regular season play. Again, first semester of 2020 academic season. Jesse, to start things off, we got William and Mary taking on Marquette, and the Tribe have some redemptions to come upon them if they want to start to break themselves back into the standings.
Yeah, it's like you look at their overall standings and like the record is still decent. Like they're 5-1, but it seems like some of the games haven't been as confident as we would have traditionally seen from them. So I want to see them really be dominant tonight against a Marquette team that's 1-5. They just won their first game just a few weeks back. And they've been getting better as the season gone on. It's just like last season to where they got better as the semester moved forward, but this is going to be a very tough test here for the Golden Eagles.
Where they will start and where we will start. Auburn will take on UConn later on tonight. I unfortunately won't be casting that one. I'm actually really looking forward to our second match of the day. And I get to take it all in a little bit more on the production side, so I'm more than happy for it to be on the cards. That is our second game. Let's take a little bit of a more focused look at our first, though. You were talking about the Golden Eagles not having the greatest of showings to start off this fifth season of EGFC. You said it, 1-5. The Tribe have looked better, but there does still need to be some redemption for them after, we'll say, less than ideal results in earlier weeks. Their roster consists of rival Naisu XZD, Max FTW 26, or Max for the win, and Nuklama. I gotta say, Nuklama, one of the more iconic players in most of EGFC, especially in the Overwatch scene, and my personal favorite Lucia. So, looking forward to see them.
Yeah, Nuklama has been around for a long time. It's one of those names you just instantly recognize here in the EGFC. And then for Marquette, Axehand, Reach for No Help, Stomps, Royal Ranger, and Mickey. This team loves to rotate their players in and out. Curious to see if today they more settle in, especially seeing Reach for No Help in the starting roster. They have not been starting map 1 some of the time, but this time they will be, and excited to see them on that Sojourn probably yet again.
And important other conversations, Zippy and Hattie are currently in the lobby, but are not currently active, say. They are not starting game number 1. SLM is also in the lobby. Not sure if that's an observer for William and Mary, if they are substituting, maybe a combination of the two. We'll see down the line, but SLM is also in the lobby for William and Mary, so keep that in the back of your mind. You were talking about Reach for No Help starting things off. They are going to do so on Ilios to kick things away. Kings Row to come, Suravasa a guarantee, and if needed, Circuit Royale and Coliseo with a 6th possible map, again, if really needed, I don't know if this series is even going to go to 5, would be Busan. I really want to see Busan. I really just want to see a 6th map. So, Prague, I guess?
Just a little bit, maybe just a slight Prague going on. I do think Marquette have the facilities to do so, and this meta admittedly does benefit their hero pool very well. They used to historically love playing the Sigma and the Sojourn anyway, so the fact that that is now meta, it does help them to an extent, to at least they are very comfortable in what they're playing. But obviously the caliber of William and Mary, they're going to be able to adapt. They will show you a few different looks throughout the night. It is a lot of pressure, though, on William and Mary to put this series away, probably in a 3-0, because that is what, at least very early on, would be the expectation from the outside looking in. But like I said, I can't discount Marquette too much. I'm from Wisconsin, went to Marquette, to go to sporting events, and there's a soft spot in my heart there for the Golden Eagles, but I am going to be blunt in saying they're not the favorites going into this game, and they have a very hard task ahead of them.
Yeah, and honestly, taking on William and Mary towards the later stages of this first half of the regular season, unlike some other collegiate leagues, by the way, EGFC is not as rigid with first semester playoffs, finals, then second semester playoffs, finals, and then nationals at the end. We just have first semester regular season, second semester also regular season, with adjustments for any teams that come into the second semester. We go based off of win percentages, not pure record, and then finals at the end, alongside conference finals. We are split up into conferences. I think it's American and East in Overwatch. Yep. Whatever it is, but the standings right now do not favor Marquette. That needs to change sooner rather than later, because there's 8 weeks in both semesters. You don't have a full extra season at the end of things just to redeem yourself after fall season. We'll head into our first map. I talked about it. It is Ilios. What are your thoughts, especially considering we start off on the Lighthouse to kick things away, and I see a Torbjorn. Oh my goodness, I love this already. This should be fun.
I wonder if Reach for No Help is just baiting us here. I think they might be. William and Mary more than likely it is TPing out with Rival on the Symmetra and then going over to a Tracer, but a full dive setup going over for the Tribe if that swap is made, and they will, yep, there he goes. Actually, Sojourn for Rival, which would not help, will stay actually on the Symmetra.
I don't know how I feel about this Symmetra early on. You're going up against a Winston, so it may help. We'll see if that actually becomes the case. Great Immortality Field. Keeps, most importantly, Royal Ranger alive. You lose your main support first fight. I think that point cap is basically a done deal. And there goes your main support. I say it, and it happens. A pseudo-caster's curse, maybe just omniscience. Either way, it is not the greatest of openings to this first point. However, they do cap first. That's a little bit surprising to say the very least. And in the meantime, Reach for No Help actually taken out by the orb. That is a problem to say the very least. This should also be the fight. Great anti-lands on the stomps, and that'll do it. It is a cap. It is some percentage points, but not too much to write home about for Marquette University.
No, I have a feeling they were not expecting the dive coming in for William and Mary, and that's why you'll see the swap right away for Reach for No Help, who already picks off Naisu, tries to take just a little bit too much space, but Royal Ranger is on the other side of that trade. And without your main source of healing, without that flex support, it's going to be very difficult here for the Golden Eagles to push, at least right away.
Especially with a Nano now on the board. Stun will land, good accretion, and an even better Ice Wall. Great job from Axan, just controlling their point of view and making sure that XCD, well, boosted up, cannot get any further progress than they were actually. Anyway, a little overzealous we're seeing on the back line. Again, a forced out Immortality Field, and they're going to use Primal. Immortality Field will not survive this. I don't think Royal Ranger will either. Somehow they do. And XCD, while even using Primal, is dispatched of. A great start, but an even better ante once more. Max is landing these every day of the week, and Royal Ranger will take out Royal Ranger will get taken out once more. That's a third first death for Royal Ranger in this game. We've only had 3 fights.
Yeah, not the start you want to have if you're the Baptiste, not able to build window. And now the Sound Barrier is forced to be used. They will continue capping holding this point as Naisu with the Duke trying to build up this ult.
Seems like it's going to happen. They will go up into the air, though, and caught out. Great accretion by the Sigma. Ironically enough, taking out their duplicates ultimate, but it's not going to do enough to end up winning the fight. Good Blizzard finds very little. XCD is frozen, but they also have like 600 health, so they'll survive. And yes, Marquette does indeed take the lead back, but I'm getting some deja vu from our first point where they don't do a whole lot after.
Yeah, they're able to flip it, but not actually win the fight during that flip. And Marquette now have a lot of work to do as, you know, 3 of your most impactful ultimates are gone. Yes, you have the overclock and the window to use, but you really got to try to keep Royal Ranger alive.
Overclock dedicated. Wall is taken down there for Stomp, but it's put right back up, and the Overclock will do very little, if anything at all, and absolutely sent to the Shadow Realm. Axe Hand through a pre-placed Amplification Matrix will find 1, make it 2. Max dispatched up just the same. Great start to this fight. Naisu finds 1 back, though, and this is becoming a problem on the back line. Reach for No Help just barely gets away, but they're not going to survive this all that much longer without some help, and they finally will get some. Great focus and beam, doesn't find the kill they're looking for. Somehow Reach for No Help lives much longer than they should have, but they are not immortal. They will still die, but still, it's a fight for Marquette.
And a fight that built support ultimates for the tribe were used as well. That rally gets nothing, and it was just a beautiful opening there from the window, and the ice goes straight through to the dome. And that is what Marquette needed. Reach for No Help will get back in time before this fight truly begins.
Overclock dedicated. Reach for No Help gets out of harm's way and will start to over-dedicate themselves once more. They're not finding it. Nobody's even giving them the time of day until XCD does just that. But in the middle of everybody, you're not going to survive. I don't care how much primal rage you may very well have. You have to get out, and he does. Sigma going to be duplicated once more. And Rival finds one again using that railgun. Is becoming more of a problem than the Marquette University Golden Eagles can solve. And I don't care how much kinetic grasp you have. Surprising usage of the Gravitic Flux here. That was so unnecessary until I realized it was nicer.
Yeah, might as well just check it out at that point. I think the beat that was used from Mickey maybe is one she's wanting back. Once already, I believe it was 5v3. You maybe just want to keep it at that point. But the good thing is, William and Mary had to use everything from that fight. They have nothing. They should be able to build a nano during this, but Ultic Economy definitely in the favor here of the Golden Eagles if they can keep their back line alive.
It's a difficulty to build that nano if you don't have to do any healing. Great start, though. Great nano. The sleep misses, but I don't think it's going to matter. A cat may very well come through because of the blizzard, but it's not going to matter. You have a 2 versus 5, and Stomps is left alone. They are not long for this world, no matter how many times they can press Q. Round number 1, going to cleanly and obviously going the way of William and Mary, just that is until we see Marquette tap a few times in the middle. It seemed like the fights for William and Mary were just a little more dominant overall. However, still 199.
Score. Yeah, close in the score line, but obviously the fights, I think Marquette just got to clean it up a tiny bit in the back, but I think it's more a credit to William and Mary. Naisu is finding them, and especially XZD as well, finding the back line so often. Royal Ranger, I think, has like 5 or 6 deaths already in that first round. You just can't afford to have your flex support die that often. So, them on the Kiriko, I don't mind it. Well, never mind. They're going to swap off of it, which I think is the right call. Go on to stay on the Bab, try and keep up Stomps, and reach for no help. We'll go over to the Ash. A little bit more of that long range here in Ruins with these elongated sight lines. And we may actually get that Torb you're wanting. Zaxxand will stick it.
Yeah, it was Reach for No Help that hovered it last time. Axand will actually make me happy this time around. Turret going to be dedicated to high ground, as is customary for everybody's favorite hero. But I gotta say, this is a question. Okay, oh, I thought Axand died.
Hey, I highly recommend don't produce and cast at the same time. You get a little funky. And yeah, Stomps is gonna find out walls don't really mess with them.
Oh, not particularly well alongside Orion's target as well. Things are becoming a little bit more difficult early for Marquette. They had the buffer winning first fight, about 15% last point back on Lighthouse, but that's not the case here. And it is virtually touching the arches for try. They're looking good. Stomps will make the adjustment on towards the Reinhardt. I like the mirror, but you have to win it for it at all effective. You're jumping in out into the open. This could become a problem. It doesn't even seem like XCD is all that too concerned about it. You will end up walking forward in towards it. They get counter-stunned out. A great immortality to keep them alive. I don't know if Stomps can say the same. Just narrowly, will they survive just the same? And all in all, the only one to die, ironically enough, is Axand. Goodbye, Torbjorn, and oh my goodness, somehow not goodbye Ash. And XCD survives, only to die to the hammer anyway. Stomps to be left in the 1 versus 4.
Yeah, Stomp is going to try and find a way back. Will and Mary just holding that choke excellently. Marquette are forced to take a quick fight, and they're just not able to find those picks. And like you said, what a clutch slam getting thrown in from Max for the win to keep up their tank just for a little while longer. With the Shatter now coming into play for XCD, and we can see Stomp almost has it as well.
Does now, going in, wants to get it behind that shield. Big shield, Shatter goes nowhere! It gets blocked by his teammate. The Amplification Matrix isn't going to find a dang thing. Not a soul caught by any of these ultimates. Reach for No Help will find one. Immortality Field, however, a direct counter. Great sound barrier by Nuclon. XCD also used their Shadow in the process, which similarly found very little. But Rival now on the side. Overclock in hand will find one onto Nikki. Wants to find more, though. They can't find it. They have to turn around, only to dust down Reach for No Help. Target at a 90-degree flip and a flick to drop down their doppelganger. It is a great fight to pick up for William and Mary, despite how much they dedicated forward.
It was such a sloppy fight, and honestly, Marquette might be kicking themselves as the Shadow from XCD doesn't get anything either. They were in the advantage, and it's just that overclock that turns it all around, and XCD is just trying to force that lamp early, and they do.
But that's about all that's going to be taken out for William and Mary. Nuclama will fall, but it is a very inconsequential kill, to say the very least. Overclock going to be dedicated for Reach for No Help. They will jump into the middle of things and understandably walk into the fire line and die, or at least shortly after. William and Mary 2-0 on Ilios. First point significantly more contentious than the second.
Significantly more in the favor of the tribe, and I think they eventually got it together just a little bit more, and Max, arguably, I don't blame them for being the MVP here, as able to get the offensive output out as well as keeping that front line alive, because XCD is very aggressive. It didn't matter if they were on the Ana or the BAP, they were able to keep their tank up, and we knew this would be an uphill battle for Marquette. Like, that was, a reality going into this. And I think those colors really started to show there over on Ruins.
Yeah, and with that first map being, I'm going to say as concise as it was. I'm going to say that the
Yeah.
first point on paper was close, 199, but I will repeat myself, it didn't seem like the fights that were won for Marquette were actually won by Marquette. The first point cap, they didn't actually win a fight, they just delayed for 15 seconds after capping the point, and then they lost it. The last fight, they capped for all of 8.5 seconds, and then they used a blizzard that found nothing, had a 1v5 for their Sigma, and lost the round. It was a lot of problems that did not have a whole lot of solutions afterwards, and it's becoming a problem for Marquette, because map number 1, probably more likely you're going to win than King's Row. I have not seen William & Mary lose at King's Row thus far. I've also only seen them on 2 weeks of broadcast, so it's entirely possible it's blatantly incorrect, but King's Row is also only played twice over, so I think I've seen them play it once, and they've won it once.
Yeah, and
Maybe
it does fit their style of being super aggressive and wanting to run more of those Rhine comps that we saw a little bit of on Ruins, which historically, Ruins is the one you'd probably run poke the most, and that's why Marquette ran it initially, but they weren't afraid of the mirror, which I think is the bright spot here for Marquette. They're not afraid to mirror William & Mary and challenge them in this brawl. And like you said, Marquette, they had like a good opening to some of these fights. I think it was just once they got into the mid fight, it got a little bit lost. And I wonder if that's just a communication thing with the current 5 that are in. But you can tell the pieces were there in the very beginning of those fights. That's how they got up to 99% over there on Lighthouse. It is just finishing the fight and making sure they can actually keep their supports alive to have that sustain for the rest of it.
Interestingly enough, Marquette has chosen to start on the defensive side. I'm not going to say that's the most outlandish decision made, but a lot of times, if I see comebacks on a map too, it's after a team has chosen the attack. They get the momentum started for themselves. It is after they begin well. Because if you start on the defensive side, you can have a decent defense and still give up all 3 points in 100% of the map. But it, on paper, seems a lot worse than it is. If you lose all 3 points, you no longer have a win condition in regulation. It becomes, oh, we have to push it to OT rather than maybe going here. Whereas on the other side, your defense can look a lot better if it's not the case. I'm going to say it's 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. It's sometimes down to preference, sometimes down to skill. We'll see what becomes the case down the line as they put the map off. I do not see any subs on either side. However, I see a Life Weaver. I don't know if that's going to be stuck to William & Mary still. Spawn doors, and they love Swerve.
Yeah, I doubt it. If anything, it'll be for like a quick peek, and then they're going to yank them back.
Wait,
Marquette. Oh yeah, SLM does sub in. So nice little sub in. We were wondering if they were going to sub in today. So SLM on to the hit scan. Let's see what impact they can bring over to this map. As here we go. First round, and they're just going to wait and see. Any fire strikes? No. Marquette will be playing a little more safely, not as much towards choke, but actually now they will. More of like a balance between hotel and statue.
Start pushing forward though. This becomes a problem if you start to get walled off. And Stomps has been fairly well isolated. The issue is, can they get out? The answer, very much yes. Not so much for Axan, who gets pinned into the aforementioned hotel and leaves Reach for No Help as the low with DPS. And I don't think Stomps is going to live all that much longer. Great isolation once more of this Reinhardt, and they are swiftly dispatched of amazing counter with speed, good wall to make sure that XP stays alive while circling around, and you know, everybody aiming at a Reinhardt means that their health pool fairly null and void, to say the very least here. Jesse, great first point, already won for William & Mary. This is good.
And they may not get the credit they initially deserve, but Naisu's wall, I think, just wins them the entire point there. It completely isolates them. Well, I know you said it, but main in general don't get enough credit. There's, especially the counter wall, even at the initial choke, to set off Stomps, force them to use the pin, be in an awkward position, and now they're going to keep pushing.
Oh, that's a great pin. The entire point around that pin was, oh, we're both stuck in front of an amplification matrix, but ours is active. And we're going to do more damage onto a fallen Reinhardt than you are onto me. I have more health, you've already lost 2 team members. This is basically a done fight, and we're already seeing them get past the arch. I'm going to take all the way a look back at, I believe it's Nuklama who's sitting on point. They've gotten through the arches. They're looking good already. This is a great start to understate the obvious for William & Mary, who's, again, already won the first point. Naisu, are they going to win this fight? No, just narrowly they win.
The question is, does Reach not help get out? Yeah, they will, just because William & Mary will give up a little bit of okay, a little bit of a high ground maneuver, but they will get out. Shatter's still in their hands. They will play just a little bit slower now, waiting for that to come.
Shatters in the board. They use it behind the point. It finds 3 people. That may very well dispatch of multiple players and only finds 1. Reach for No Help great railgun shot through, but again, good isolation of Stomps, who's stuck in front of a May. They do not use their shatter, and they do finally put onto an ice block. Oh my goodness, you had one player in front of you. It was the only one alive who could counter you. Blizzard now activated, sound barrier as well. It is the kitchen sink to be thrown at this overzealous Marquette squad, and they are caught out because of it. The ceramic broken and shattered as that kitchen sink falls apart.
All you can feel for Stomps is just sadness at this point. Like, they've had 2 shatters just go completely wrong due to a May one of their own, and you know, this time around it's just the ice blocked in their face from Nice, who completely shuts it down, and now Will and Mary have even more fit. The raw fit window almost catches one of that fire strike.
Window used here, though, they don't take full advantage of it. Out in the open, Max actually wins that fight through their own amplification matrix, and this is a fight again. Immortality Field's going to be delaying the inevitable as Thanos snaps for a few seconds, and Breach for no help will fall. So will Royal Ranger. But yeah, this is a done fight, and XED is meleeing dead bodies. This is, I'm going to say, a massacre. Are we in New England?
We don't say not the new version of England they would want in this case, as the streets of London are getting a little nasty here for the Golden Eagles. Yeah, just nobody. Everybody's able to get out here for Golden Mary, and they will hit the reset.
You know, this is a collegiate broadcast. We need to take a drinking game based off how many ults Marquette has missed.
Well,
this is becoming a problem.
It's not even, I can't even blame them for that one. It was just honestly just a good amp. XDD, now that they're wanting to shatter, they want to throw it down. They're just trying to see if they can break that shield first. Stop.
Aggressive and counterpin. Shatter now used. Not a soul is going to be able to block that one. Royal Ranger is stuck on an island, one that will collapse under them, and they will fall to the seafloor or to the lava pit below them. A problem starting to develop more than it was already. Everybody hopping on the point, making sure they can get that progress. And Fire Strike point blank will find 3 people. 20% ult charge already built up. Surprising usage of the Bastion may very well end up being useful point blank. They're not actually finding the shield of XED until he drops it. He will almost fall off the back. Overclock going to be dedicated, as will that amplification matrix. The overclock from up above, the high ground maybe not being as impactful as Obi-Wan may have indicated in past Star Wars episodes. Good usage of the Blizzard, though. That'll find 3 people. Not kill any of them, but Axiom will fall regardless. Sound barrier used. This fight's over. This round is over. It will be a full completion of King's Row, and with over 3 minutes on that ever so ticking time bank above. Great round 1 from the Tribe.
Score.
Will and Mary just keep the pedal to the metal the entire time. Marquette just having no answers to it. And even, I don't mind the Bastion swap at the end. I just think it was maybe a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Because I think it would have handled the aggression from XCD a little bit better than what they were running. But, you know, they eventually do make the swap, but at least takes a tiny bit of time off. But Marquette just, honestly, the luck is not going their way. The Shatter, not able to get anything. The Blizzard, Will and Mary have the amp to get out, plus the ice block to make sure Nicey is able to get away. And it's just time after time, William and Mary have the counter punch to what the Golden Eagles are cooking up. And now as we swap sides, Will and Mary, there's no reason for them to swap anything they're doing. They will stick to the rush that is so potent on this map. And Marquette, at least initially, in the offensive spawn, teasing something a little different, but it is hard to say, like, the one thing going wrong here for Marquette. I just think Will and Mary, they're being incredibly aggressive, and Marquette just haven't found that way to answer it quite yet.
You know, I thought of a terrible joke between 2 broadcasters. I was watching a Major League Baseball broadcast a while ago, and it was like a 13-0 game. I don't even remember the teams. And I think the exact quote was, "Jim, what has to change into the rest of this game?" And the response was, "I don't think there's enough time in the day for me to answer that question." And that's about how I feel after that first round. I don't know if it's going to continue to be the case. Maybe the attack is a different story, and we see 2 separate teams completing King's Row with 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes left on the clock. It'll be difficult, though. We are seeing that rush once more. Good immortality field will keep Reach for no help alive, and more importantly, force XCD back, who's very lucky to be alive as well. And just like that, they rededicate themselves. The wall will not land as much as it really needed to. An even better one, however, from the other side. I don't know if Stomp survives this. He will not, and with that, the rest of the team should follow suit. Great pin Axe Hand dispatched of. The Mercy not going to live through that one. I don't care how far you can fly away. Will they even make it back to spawn doors? No. Royal Ranger's dead. That could not have been a better fight for William and Mary. And to make it better, it took 50 seconds.
Yeah, a lot of time taken off the clock, and that counter wall was just gorgeous there from Naisu. Even though I don't mind this here from Marquette. Trying something a little different. Try and put a lot of the carry power on to reach for no help with the Mercy damage boost and just try and punish XCD, but this Shatter is already ready to go.
To find all 5 players, dispatched of everybody, Fire Strike will find 3 of them, and they're all dead. It is a massacre in the corner of Kings Row, and nothing could have been done to prevent it. The shield was on cooldown, the ice block was not available for Axe Hand because they needed to use it to get into the corner safely, and XCD has the best Shadow we've seen today, by a very large margin, Jesse.
Maybe one of the best Shadows of the season so far. Might as well flip that one. We'll see if that one reaches the history, the highlight reel near the end of the year. But no, this, look at this. Push it in, wall goes up, and it won't do much.
Everybody frozen. It is a game of freeze tag. I didn't know that Marquette was trying to play the mannequin challenge today. They're doing so in the wrong context. And oh no, Mickey's getting staggered. This is cruel and unusual punishment. I'm pretty sure there's something in the Bill of Rights about that. This is bad. 2 minutes gone, and William and Mary looking clean.
I know they're in, Wisconsin. Freeze tag though is still not highly recommended, especially in these kind of conditions here for Marquette. As the window, look at this, just window up before reaching a help gone, and yeah, they're just gonna keep pressing the W. Shatter's online again. Oh, don't do it.
Do it.
Don't do it. No, they're gonna wait another fight. I think they're gonna wait another fight. But they gotta make sure they at least live here. But again, another 30 seconds taken off. Oh, of course. Oh my God!
Shattered spawn. I can't believe that he shattered spawn.
Reach for no help.
Yeah.
He just couldn't capitalize.
Oh, and Stomps is so upset they're switching heroes. I can't blame you on that one. The Sigma has been dipped on a May wall on 3 separate occasions. They've been caught in a blizzard. The May has just been the bane of their existence. Amplification going to be used, but not going to find a whole lot. It's a game of avoid the line of sight, and it's working. XCD playing around the surprising notion of this statue, but they're going to end up winning the fight even while being counterpin point blank. Blizzard will be good, but it's actually not going to find any kills, and again a good May wall. Oh my goodness, somebody write down Nicer's name for MVP of this match, because yet again, they will not only keep their teammate alive, but they'll find a kill off the back of it. SLN's the only one to fall. They're apparently upset about it in all chat, but it's not going to matter. And another fight goes the tribe's way.
And at this point, it is just how much can Marquette at least try and get on the board here. Because it's not looked great so far. Mickey will now go back over to the Lucio that she played during all of Ilios. And they only have the overclock and probably a Shatter to work off of. But again, these walls, and it's so crucial. Yes, there it is, yeah.
And it's going to catch one, almost 2 players. Stomps will avoid it, but they're going to have to go back into the hotel just to end up dying in the end. They will touch the point with less than 3 seconds left, which means OT is going to be on the cards. But they'll be shattered, and the game's over. Talk about cruel and unusual punishment. That is putting the final hammer on the nail in the coffin. William and Mary will take Kings Row, and Marquette are lying asleep in their final resting place.
Oh, he just accepted it. I feel so bad. He just sat there and accepted, like, I know what's happening. Just finish me off, XCD. This is the Shatter, and the wall goes down, and this was, easily one of the best plays we've had all season so far. It doesn't seem that elaborate to make sure to go in, though, like, hey, wall's gone, they're tracking all the correct cooldowns. Everything that could go right there for the tribe went right on Kings Row, and they're in an excellent spot to do exactly what they knew they needed to do tonight. But, it's still an opportunity here for Marquette as we get ready for map 3. But Saravasa, at least with it being so chaotic, it benefits them ever so slightly with at least a little bit of unpredictability.
Yeah, and they looked better on Ilios than they did on Kings Row. That is a map to forget, to say the very least. That was a problem, to understate the obvious, for the Golden Eagles. They have to soar much higher than they were just clipped their wings off of back in our first 2 maps. We'll head to our 3rd map, but first we'll head to a break. Saravasa when we return. Less than ideal, I think, is a good set of adjectives to describe maps number 1 and 2, at least from the Golden Eagles' perspective. The tribe looked clean as ever, and a good redeeming match for them to start things off. However, it's not done just yet. Suravas is up and on the cards here, Jesse, and I gotta say, it could very well go Marquette's way, but a lot of things have to change. I think starting with either A, their composition, or B, their team lineup, because they do have some subs in the background.
Yeah, the subs coming in to be great. They need some polishing though, like my mic quality. They need they need something to go their way. Which apologies, by the way. I didn't realize it was taking my webcam mic during the first 2 maps, so apologies for that. Blame VMix. But there is definitely some polishing around the edges that needs to happen here for the Golden Eagles. Again, we've seen some of these fights to where the beginnings look great, and then William and Mary are just able to find that counter punch. And the Golden Eagles don't really have a good answer for it. May isn't as potent here on Suravasa as it is especially on Kings Row, so maybe we won't see as much of it. We might see more of flanker, whether it be, you know, Genji or Tracer, or more even like double hit scan looks here on Suravasa. So I'm curious to see, especially with the subs coming in, what the Golden Eagles are going to do.
Sorry about the subs. I honestly didn't even know that there were subs coming in until I actually looked at the game once we started it. Zippy going to be brought in, as will Hattie on the DPS and support roles, respectively, for their names. I gotta say, I like the decision. I don't think that the players that were just subbed out are bad. However, I don't think that their current roles, notably playing on the aforementioned May, really helped all that much. Reach for no help going to be kept over. I like that decision. But Stomps, I'm not even bringing up the tank lineup. I do not think they keep. There's no way.
I think that's. I would think that's changing, but we'll see.
I really hope
Hattie
they do
coming
not bring the
in. Yeah, Hattie coming in on flex support to play the Ilari, which I don't mind it. A little more offensive firepower for that back line to try and fight for themselves. And Zippy coming in, who's basically known for playing the Tracer for this team, and they will stick the ball.
This is either going to go
Why
very
not throw
well
a curveball at him? Right? Throw a curveball. See what they can do. As the Doomfist is actually also thrown into the mix, as they're going through a variation of the dive as well.
Genji Doom is a switch. Max is going to go back onto the Ana, and we've seen Nuke Lombo before. Fist tried to be used, didn't land, but a good anti already hits on towards Reach for the Health, and it's this game of poke from a distance. It doesn't even seem like the dive is the call, as nobody has really dedicated themselves, at least not overly, into a fight. Stomps need to survive, though. We'll get some help from their Mercy once more, and will dedicate themselves with that solidification. Nice slam, I'll find an opener. Great start, but Reach for no Help falls just the same time.
Yeah, this is actually not a bad fight start here for Marquette. As I'm saying that, of course, Zippy goes down to the upgraded damage from the flail for Nuke Lava, and just like that, William and Mary regain control at this point. Will officially cap it. And obviously with this being a little bit faster of a cap time, Marquette won't have as much time to try and figure out the changes that need to be made, as these counter dives might be even more important than the initials.
Getting aggressive on the side. If they get caught out, they're almost certainly dead. 150 HP up against XCD on the Doomfist. He's not going to survive for that long, nor will the 200 that Mickey has. That is a quick dispatching of the Mercy, and it does not seem like the Idiotti is going to survive all much longer. Now, this is not.
And Stomps is out of there pretty quick. They're at least able to get out with their life, but yeah, it's not a great start for Marquette. Even though, like again, the beginning of that first fight looks great. Pile drive SLM, it just doesn't end up turning into anything too much. It's nice. He's just getting chased down by Zippy, who wants the 1v1, and so far ain't gonna get it.
One shot of that one. They tried to go for the mines. Stomps didn't find a whole lot with it. They will get a touch onto the point. And they actually may try and capture this. Nobody's contentioning with them right now. XD will realize it and will call in the truth, but contention, they don't do enough damage on the Stomp side without any extra help. Naisu will find one, looking for that pulse bomb. They will find it, but they have some help, and they will find the kills they're looking for. Again, a extremely good anti coming through from Max, but still, it is Stomps left alone on the point, trying to do something. Problem is they're isolated. They have both the Doomfist and the Tracer going after them, and they are quickly dispatched. They will capture it for all of about 16 seconds, and there will be nothing afterwards. It's a recap back to William and Mary. It'll be the first one going their way.
Yeah, and you wonder if some changes will be coming in soon here for the Golden Eagles, as the Doomfist has admittedly seen more playtime over the last few weeks. Not a huge shock that we're going to see here on Saravasa, but so far no swaps for the Golden Eagles as the tribe. They will get clear advantage here going over to this point. It'll be Stomps maybe poking their head, but they don't have the manpower quite yet to try and do anything with it, as Mickey and Hattie are both just getting to this point.
Also a little focused on how this works early in the fight for said Mickey and Hattie. They're getting in, they have the Valkyrie, and then already losing Zippy. Sunstrike going to be used, will find only one, and then Max finds the sleep they were looking for. Hattie is gone, dusted down the drain, and there's still the Bio Nade available, of which they'll use on themselves. You could not ask for a better Ana. They don't even take the kill away. They were looking for the healing rather than the kill onto the very low HP. Mickey, this is another fight that goes William & Mary's way, and one they will take handedly to cap first again.
Yeah, Hattie will swap to the Ana themselves after the Captive Sun reaps just nothing, honestly. Hits, yes, the Ana, but the sleep, the finish, and Max for the win continues the mantra. As now the tribe, they will push up extensively far just to try and see him poke out, see exactly where Marquette is planning on going as the sports sit back. Reach for no help, has the overclock. Minefields may pop up here very soon, but you gotta think they need to get the first pick of one of these fights.
Game of hide and go seek onto Naisu. SLM low HP as well. The DPS line may very well be dispatched of sooner rather than later. You will not see really anything set up early in this fight on the current defensive side. Great Bio Nade, even better for Hattie, and the punch misses. It needs to be better here for XCD because they're basically isolated. They have very little, if any, help, and they'll get away. They should give up the cap, and they certainly will with a good overclock. Even better set of minds to force them into the open, and that's a fairly quick fight. Exactly what Marquette needed. The issue is they used 3 ultimates.
Yeah, they had to use a lot for that, especially the overclock, which Reach for No Help finally able to start turning their misfortune away. And William & Mary will make the swap over to Somber, which is going to make Stomp's life even more of a living hell, as these hacks are going to be continuous. This could get a little interesting. I think they've just seen it, and Stomps is not happy.
So Stomps is hacked. They were lucky to survive that when the virus missed. Not a whole lot else will, though. XCD in the back line will find 2, make it 3. They'll get slept, but it's not going to matter. Stomps is basically on an island. They only have Zippy for support. You had to bring 1 mate with you, and you were stuck on an island. I don't think a Tracer would be the person you're looking for, no matter who is at the helm of it. Great punch will deny the touch, and no, you get body blocked out of trying to touch. Again, the Stomps will survive, but not by a whole lot. Oh no, they get hacked. I don't know if he survives this. You won't. The stagger of all time. And it's a cap as well.
Yeah, and this just goes from bad to worse here for Marquette, as Power Punch is even available here for XZD, depending on how quickly they can get over to this capture point. But Marquette, I think at this point they're just going to stick to their guns. They're not going to try anything different, which I don't know if it's going to, have the result they're seeking, but we'll see if they're able to eventually have it work as Zippy will just be sitting there, but Nano goes on to do a good sleep.
Sleep lands. Nano going to be much less effective overall. They try and still use the punch and it will land. Oh my goodness. I didn't know you could snipe with melee attacks. XCD apparently breaks out a 3x scope on his fist and it works. That's gross to say the very least. Nothing Reach for No Help could have done, and that's already the fight. That'll be the cap. Everybody just shield your eyes.
Yeah, just shield your eyes if there are children in the room, because this is turning into an absolute murder here in the streets of Saravasa. Marquette, yeah, Stomps goes in, even with his adaptive shield, will not be able to make it out. They're at least able to get the trade, but no, this could be interesting.
They're stunned? Oh. Hold the phone. Okay. That has landed. You're going to see the pulse bomb land as well. Max could not get out of the way. This now becomes a much more reasonable fight. I think Naisu's going to try and get back to this one. Nuke Llama will survive, but not by a whole lot. And they are currently isolated. Rally surprisingly used. I don't know if they live through this. It's a game of who can get out of the way quicker, as the blink will be used to get away from the attempted stun of Nuke Llama. He will still hit the whip shot they were looking for. The rally only used to keep them in the fight rather than to do anything afterwards. But it's still a decent bit of ultimates available. Pulse bomb available. It'll go through, but it'll miss. Won't even do damage to write home about. That's a problem. And Hattie now with the Nano available, this is a little bit more of a sustainable fight on this side, but an even better setup around the Nano and the Anti. It's not going to matter. This fight's virtually done for. Stomps cannot live through this, I'd say, as he lives through this, and he'll actually get a fight, or at least a kill off the back.
This ain't done yet, Marquette.
Oh?
And during this entire time, Mickey stays alive. And it was only the Ana heals for William and Mary. They didn't have the sustain to really push forward, even after the EMP and nade combo. And now they're sitting back. Marquette, one fight away to extending out this map just a little bit longer. And they have the resources to do so.
And that's the only thing that's going to be on the board in the foreseeable future, other than maybe Pulse Bomb. That's Max. He wants to try and get it on towards the Monkey. If XCD can get in, which he does, Nano will shortly follow. There's the Nano. There's the Overclock doing to reach for no help. They'll go in, and they'll actually find one on the Max for the win. Nano dedicated on towards their Sojourn as well, who wins 2 separate fights, and XCD can't do as much as they were hoping for on that Winston. There will be overtime dedicated towards Palace, but not enough to win the fight for William and Mary. The first point on the board for Marquette University comes on Surabasa to keep them alive.
Yeah, first round win of the day, and it couldn't have came at a more desperate time here for the Golden Eagles. They will at least extend this out a little bit more. I do worry a little bit now that William and Mary will have the Primal Rage during this fight. They have the Pulse Bomb. Could get a little tricky here going into it, because the only real counter dive they have is their support line, and they will be the subject of a lot of these dives from XCD.
The issue is Ruins is a very close range battleground, one where you're missing already one becomes significantly more problem. Make it 2. Mickey and Reaper no help both dead. Primal Rage will find 3 separate players and will lead into a 4th. Stomps, your kinetic grasp will not stop a test again. Range. I don't think that fight could have been clean. 1 ultimate used, and that's it.
Yeah, you don't get much cleaner than that if you're William and Mary. They will start the climb here for the final point, and it is, you know, it's harsh there for Marquette. Not able to use any ults. They still have that flux if they decide to use it, but you got to think they need to be the one that punches first. I know it's been a lot of William and Mary counter punches, but this map especially, the Tribe, has not been holding back.
Holy goodness, somehow Gravitic Flux actually finds XCD. They don't live through that. The problem is the support line and the back line, the entirety of Marquette is falling by the wayside. Zippy wins the 1v1 with their doppelganger, and there is now some support available, not in terms of the role, but in terms of the players available for this Marquette half, only for the rally to be dedicated. And on a counter of the accretion, Nuklama uses their shield, and the much larger version of it to full effect. Rally will keep them in it, and it'll allow them to win the fight. This is 1-fight territory.
And that's even if they can touch. With this new system, it goes a little faster than what a normal control point. I don't know if anybody does touch. It would be Mickey or Stomps. Stomps actually may get there with the rollout, and they do, but the supports are gone. SLM goes for 3, and this one's all locked up.
It's a question how long this takes, and the answer is not very. Stomps won't even be able to survive long enough to get back in, and a Pulse Bomb put a nice little cap on the end of this series. William and Mary, almost flawless. They will finish Surabasa 3-1 rather than 3-0, which was their original goal. But regardless, it is a clean sweep in the series, and 3-0 for William and Mary to take.
They will take it in a 3-0 fashion. We said at the very beginning of the broadcast, this is the type of performance we needed from them to try and, A, continue their rise in the standings, but also to prove that, hey, they are one of these top teams up with the Auburns, up with the Delawares of this season. And obviously, you know, this one isn't going to have that level of impact, but it at least shows, hey, you played a team that is significantly lower than you in the standings. You need to be able to get the sweep, and they are able to on the day. So it at least helps the confidence of consistency just a little.
Yeah, I'm also looking at this from the William and Mary perspective and saying this is a real momentum builder. They haven't had the greatest of showings to start off the season. You said it, they're trying to get up to that higher threshold. 3-0ing a team like Marquette, who has won a series of their own already in the season, is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, well, Marquette's schedule has been ridiculously difficult. I think it is notoriously one of the hardest strength of schedules we've had so far this year. I do think, though, Will and Mary, I do think are in that conversation. Yeah. Just because, yes, their record has shown to be in that conversation, but we haven't really seen a lot of those types of plays up until this point. But I do think this is definitely the beginning of the road here for William and Mary, and I can't wait to see. You know, we got one more week left in this fall split in 2 weeks' time. I really want to see them really develop in spring because obviously, more than likely, a different meta, the level of adaptation that I think will set them apart amongst the rest.
Well, you can see the sum up of the series right here. Ilios fairly quick, clean, and concise. for the William & Mary side. Kings Row even quicker. If they started on the defense, it would have been about a 4.5-minute game. And Servasa, almost a clean sweep, but not so much. It ended 3-1 instead of 3-0. Again, there were signs of life from Marquette University. They looked fairly decent on Lighthouse, but I do think it was a little bit more based off their poke composition rather than them actually winning fights. And they looked a little bit better on Servasa, but there needed to be more signs of life and overall more consistent signs of life. Speaking of signs of life, it is a very lively game for William & Mary. They take it 3-0. What we're going to do, we're going to send it to a break. When we come back and interview with the only player who didn't start this series, at least for William & Mary, SLM will be joining us to get their thoughts on the Tribe 3-0. How's it feel to return to form as the Tribe has over the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, we've definitely been putting in a lot of work. VOD reviewing, doing map review, trying to figure out the niche for our team. We've switched the roster around. I've actually moved to coach, so I've taken sort of a backseat instead of playing my last semester here. I'm graduating, so my final EGF match, pretty sick. But yeah, we've just been trying to iron out the quirks and see if we can start scrimming higher and higher and doing better and better every time.
So with you not playing map number 1, I wanted to ask, was there a specific reason you came in on Kings Row? Were you guys more confident, or were you thinking to yourself, oh yeah, it may be my final match, let me just hop in on the last 2 maps?
Yeah, it was a little bit of like a little more confidence for sure. We just wanted to sort of feel the waters and see what exactly we were walking into. Also, there's a little bit of a miscommunication on our team where our hit scan player didn't know that I was gonna play today, so it was unfortunate, but yeah, it all worked out in the end. Everybody's happy.
Nice.
That's good. Well, congrats again. You're potentially, I guess, winning your final match as a player. I gotta talk about you were saying in chat you lost the perfect streak there in Kings Row. What happened over there?
Yeah, the Jern slid into me with all his cooldowns and a mercy beam and ruined my perfect game. So that was pretty disheartening. Unfortunate.
Yeah, we got a pretty good laugh out of seeing that in chat. But how are you guys? Where do you guys see each other now amongst the rest of these top teams? We were just talking about, how you guys are, I would say, in the realm of like an Auburn and Delaware with record. Where you guys kind of see yourselves now as we enter the end of the fall split?
I mean, yeah, we definitely see ourselves as one of the top teams. Definitely one of the contenders for nationals this year. It's gonna be hard. We're gonna have to put in a lot of work and really get our nose to the grindstone, balancing academics and practice at the same time. But everybody here is motivated and dedicated to improvement. So I think that going forward with nationals in the spring, I think that it's going to be a very competitive, probably the most competitive that nationals has ever been for EGF. And it's going to be a lot of fun no matter what happens, right? I mean, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be supporting in the crowd, even though I can't play anymore. But I think easily top 3 team for sure, if not the best out of all of them.
So that's actually what I wanted to focus up on. You said this is your last semester at William & Mary. Are you graduating?
Yeah, that's right.
So with the spring semester coming, are you even going to be a pseudo coach, or will you not be affiliated? You're just going to be on that sidelines, hoping that.
Yeah, I'll just be on the sideline. I mean, we'll still be friends, but we'll be watching. I'll be watching.
William & Mary without SLM. I don't think that's been the case since I came in.
It's gonna feel very odd.
I think I'm gonna have to look back at how I feel about EGFC after this. SLM's been the one keeping me on. No, but congratulations on winning what may very well end up being your final match. I like the decision to go to coach, especially considering you won't be here for the next semester, so it allows them to be a little bit more cohesive unit. I love when there are team players and they talk about it in interviews. SLM, thank you very much for joining us. Before we let you go, this may very well be your last interview. Any final thoughts from you? Any final shout-outs? Any words of wisdom for those who are just now joining Collegiate Esports? The floor, my friend, is all yours.
Yeah, I mean, I say I think that esports is a wonderful thing. I think joining the program here at William & Mary was one of the best decisions I made in my college career. I don't regret it. The people that I've met, the people that I've played against in matches, all around great people, great community to be a part of, and I'm honored to be here today. And I know it sounds like I'm accepting an Academy Award, but it is a big deal, and it was a lot of fun. It was cool. It was a good time in my life.
And you got to play with Dukelum. Just
Yeah,
really
exactly.
living it life over here is SLM. SLM, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on a very nice collegiate career and a nice last victory in your playing career as well.
Alrighty, thank you.
Well, I have to say goodbye to SLM.
That's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, almost as hard as, us having to go on a near hour break as Dan tries to figure out how he wants.
I need to produce now. I can't walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. Dan will be stepping aside of the producer chair. Mott will be joining us for the final match of the day, which starts at 9:30 EST. So we'll be on a little bit of a break here, but stick around. Should be an excellent match, honestly,
Oh yeah.
between Auburn and UConn. So you don't want to miss it, guys. Welcome back, everybody, to another game here tonight. Last one for us over here on this stream. Myself and now Mott joining us over from the other stream to bring you Auburn versus UConn in a game that, honestly, I'm pretty excited about because obviously Auburn has been arguably the top team so far this semester, but UConn have had their strides. I'm curious to see if the Huskies can bring it tonight.
I think they definitely will. They've kind of had a little bit of some weeks on, some weeks off, but I feel like recently they're getting everything kind of back in synergy, back with their team, get the trust back in there, and just kind of play the way we know they can play. I feel like Auburn University doesn't really need introduction. We've been seeing them kind of dominate very, very heavily, and just again have that mindset, have that synergy kind of already down locked. So this is a recap from from the previous series. William and Mary did get 3-0, and then going into this one, hopefully we get a game 5 today. As of right now, we've been having 3-0s across the board on both streams. I want us to have a little bit longer games. I want us to see our contenders go up above and beyond up to game 5. Run it all the way back and see who can come out on top.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see. Especially we got a lot of more rush-orientated maps tonight, as it is going to be Ilios, which may be more of a mix, and then heading over to Kings Row and Suravasa for the guaranteed 3. We look at these rosters, a lot of familiar names on the right side, Rich, Eclipse, Sinellis, Tiz guys. YouTube Cap has been one of their newer players who's really shined over these last few weeks. And then Auburn, there's not a lot that needs to be said, especially about Obie's Chicken, arguably one of the most aggressive supports I think we have ever seen.
For sure, and also one of the best names I've ever heard. Obie's Chicken, it really does go hard. But as you're mentioning, the first 3 maps in the night gonna be that's the preferred 3-0, Ilios, Kings Row, and then Suravasa. Haven't seen the Secret Royale tonight at all yet. Haven't seen the Coliseo either, and we're hoping to change that. But before we get into that, we have to get into Ilios. Very, very flexible control map. I feel it's one of my favorite control maps ever. I think it's one very beautiful. I love Greece. And second of all, you have a lot of flexibility with comps here, but like you were saying, a lot of the time they're gonna want to go kind of that brawl with the with the Symmetra likely, or a lot of times we've been seeing like the May Bastion, or even today I saw the Sojourn today a little bit. So very, very flexible stuff can go on here. We can also go dive just for some extras. Go in, contest point if you have to, go out, go back, and it could happen for just a long time. When I was watching earlier, the first point wasn't even contest, it wasn't even capture until almost a minute in. It was that long of a team fight. Just that first fight. So Hey, Joker Queen. So we are going to be going into this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scenery here as our teams get ready. And what do we have kind of cooking so far?
Well, UConn will go the traditional rush. This is not a surprise whatsoever, especially on Lighthouse, to where a lot of action is going to occur on the control point in the Lighthouse. So they'll be TPing out. We'll have to see if they stick to that Symmetra or not. I could see it happening. Auburn, a little bit more of an interesting look as they have a lot of late changes going on with them, but it will be almost like a hybrid, almost like a hybrid rush, but instead of, you know, a more traditional rush tank that we've seen, be more of like, honestly, at this point, more of like a dive and then poke hybrid with Riptide on the Soj and then Tracer and Kobe on the Diva to bring in that dive.
Yeah, for sure. So we have kind of a dive versus a brawl, and they're waiting.
Sure.
Pretty good. Chilling.
I think they're waiting. They're trying to
They're
bait
rushing.
somebody. Be
Yeah.
aggressive. Yeah.
Then they're gonna just rush right in. You see the poke from the Tracer from the Brad. I'm sorry, from Auburn University, kind of scoping out where University of Connecticut is, and with a quickness. Look, even though University of Connecticut wasn't the aggressor, they were kind of waiting out for the timer to start to contest the point. They get that point, and now they're all huddled together, which is what Brawl does so beautifully. When they're all together, they're pretty much unkillable. Now, YouTube Cup on the May is gonna be a showing for us today. We've been saying how well Cup has been playing, and as I say that, getting one of the best picks of the night, the Brad on the Tracer gone and dusted, leaving Auburn University to have to maybe take the high road and leave for a second and kind of regroup.
Yeah, honestly, them having the patience very early on paid off. They were just waiting for that teleporter to come back from Eclipse. And as the stagger might come through onto Kobe, no, they're just going to actually let her just chill out. And Kobe, he's just going to decide he needs to get off at this point. So they will get reset. Even more time will come off the clock. Is the Brad under the Junkrat now, which is something we don't see a lot of as of late. Junkrat's kind of turned into a very niche pick, but to try maybe to break some of these walls that are going up and the TPs as well. That's what they'll elect with currently. And UConn, they have all the resources available. They have the turret set up on point and a window to boot.
And if that window gets activated right here, that pretty much negates that whole entranceway. Everyone has to duck for cover and go through the left side of the control point, and that allows Rich to just kind of bully that area with the shield, with the big old hammer, and honestly makes it even harder for the side of Auburn to even come in. The nano boost does go on to Kobe, who does not waste it whatsoever, comes in with the aggression, and I think we're cleaning up the entirety of UConn in 10 seconds. The tide has shifted.
What a great nano just to send in Kobe, and everything just gets switched onto its head. And it's only the one ult used as well for both sides. So at least it's not worst case scenario here for UConn, but a nice little turnaround here for the Tigers, who desperately needed something to go their way. Watch for another TP maybe early here from UConn, just to go right back over to that point. Or onto the high ground, actually, to try and challenge Obese Chicken, and that's what they'll tease.
Oh, there is a Junkrat tire coming in, and it's kind of scary for the side of University of Connecticut, because they're all huddled together from that teleport. Thankfully, the clutch immortality fit from Nels allows no one else to be taken quickly. Sinwall is active here, giving us a little bit of a barrier to contest the point on, and even recapture in their favor. We're going to be throwing out a Blizzard as a way to make sure that that Diva does not come in, beautifully avoiding the line of sight of the Snowball. So therefore, Kobe is able to live a little bit longer, but for how long before we get that D-Mech? The Brad still on this Junkrat Queen, on this Junkrat, getting a beautiful pick, but is accompanied by the Diva self-destruction. And Kobe really showing out on the Diva, doing a beautiful job of the self-destruction and remacking, and then just taking care of Tis guys at the end.
Yeah, and especially the damage that came in from the Brad broke the shield, I believe, from Rich right before that bomb was about to go off. There's nothing the Huskies could really do about it. And now Auburn is going to try and keep playing the range game. I'm a little afraid for Obese Chicken, though. Yeah, they're going to get TP'd on right away. Throws nade. They're at least able to get out, and they actually find one in the process.
That's a really good pick. That's the second best pick of the night. Get rid of the tank, and that's going to have to force Connecticut to be super, super weary. You took up not weary enough, getting caught by the trap of the tire. Gonna don't stagger him out. Give him sweet release, please. Sweet release. Okay.
That's going to be a little crucial, though. They won't have window or lamp to at least begin this fight. They won't be spawning in here for another few seconds. There they are, and we've already seen that effect. Eclipse at a literal about 5 health. They have to back up, and it'll be a very quick attempt to touch, probably from Rich. Oh, that was a miss.
That was a tire. That's unfortunate. Could have been game-changing. I think that might be the shift in momentum we need. Huge slam, big slam going straight onto the Brad and Charles with the B drop to boot. That's going to be securing a D-Mech from Rich onto Kobe, and then YouTube covers on top of it as well with that instant freeze from May. Maybe Diva gets Nano for some extra survivability. Gets the remake, I'm sorry, but unable to touch quite in time.
Not able to get it, and it will be UConn with the first round going their way. And already maybe a little bit of a question mark going into this series, as obviously Auburn the favorites just via record, but we knew this had the good potential to be pretty close. UConn has played some pretty tough competition, I believe. One of their losses this season was to William & Mary, who we just saw earlier on this stream also have an excellent game. So not too surprising that UConn are able to fight up with the big boys, and they're not going to make any changes. Why not? The only thing they're really going to change is Eclipse now going over to the hit scan. The sim maybe not as impactful here in Ruins, and actually a late swap to match the Sigma here from Kobe.
Yeah, so we pretty much have almost identical comps, except the momentum from the Bastion versus the Sojourn is going to probably be the biggest shift here. Going into these next couple of team fights. Already a May wall utilized by YouTube Kelp, and then there's no lamp available for Obese Chicken. Someone goes down for the count, and it's Kobe getting booped off by Tizguy. Is the oldest trick in the book. Having no tank allows for there to be a shift in momentum and advantage for University of Connecticut, and they use it to the fullest. Getting rid of Charles, getting rid of the Brad, forcing our heroes, Riptide, to get out of there as fast as possible, but Obese Chicken is not liable to that either. Has to go down for the count, has to force a regroup. Obese Chicken once again out staggered.
Yeah, these staggers are becoming more and more crucial as this series goes on. I have a feeling it'll be quite the trend that we will see, as both teams very disciplined in trying to keep that last opponent alive, just to stall out for a little more of an advantage. And now Auburn with this Bastion, they're going to try and look to break that shield from Rich fairly quickly.
Yeah, for sure, on both sides. You gotta break Kobe's shield, gotta break Rich's shield as well. Kobe was stuck behind the wall, and Riptide, although trying to break that middle barrier, was unable to save his tank in time. Another good hit from Eclipse gets rid of Riptide, and Nels falling right through with the Brad. This is another really great push from University of Connecticut, going almost back into their spawn, to the other team's spawn, as they hold all this extra space. The point is halfway done into this first map. What can Auburn do? Well, they do have a couple ults lining up, about 3.5, with Riptide and Kobe coming up on the back end, around 6% and counting. We have a Flux ready for Rich, though. Will he be using it soon? No! We do know to levitate above the wall, grabbing everyone, and then, of course, having to use the beat in order to get rid of any of our dying. But Riptide, surviving! Somehow YouTube Cup unable to finish it out completely, and the Eclipse has to pull out the overclock.
Yeah, and they just don't find anything quite yet from it. The window's keeping them at bay, and Riptide will force the finishing blow. It took a lot from Auburn. They will eventually flip this fight around, as both Blizzards thrown in a nice little Venn diagram here on the side of the coast, but it is the Tigers who end up on top, I think partially because they threw the Blizzard down first. It kind of delayed what Connecticut could really do with theirs, and like you saw, Riptide just barely able to stay alive, but Obese Chicken dies so early again.
That early pick on Obese Chicken is so imperative for University of Connecticut. You get rid of kind of like your main source of healing with Bap's burst healing and his projectile and his immortality field. You don't have much to do. Kobe going to the quick switch over to the ball, but definitely not going to be enough, as you can. University of Connecticut takes it 2-0 in the maps, and then 1 point on the board so far in our up to 5 games series. Only 1 game closer to that beautiful 3-0. But before we get into that, let's talk about Kobe. This was an imperative play here, going in with the self-destruct, and then the Brad just kind of finishing things up. and utilizing just how well D.Va does do. And then with the Seraphim skin, I see you. I see you. I also paid money for that skin. I see you.
Yeah, I respect. Like, you know, I haven't yet. If it ever pops back up in the store, maybe I will next time around. But I do think great start here for UConn. Not the one I personally was expecting, because we know Auburn's been on an absolute tear as of late. I believe they just beat Delaware last week 3-2. I'd have to double check that, but I believe they rotate down the Blue Hens, which, you know, taking down a team like that, you have to be at the top of your game. But so far, UConn looking pretty good, and as they get ready to go to Kings Row, it's going to be a lot of the same kind of play style that the Huskies love to play in the streets of England.
Absolutely. And with on Kings Row, some of, you know, personally, one of my favorites, I know it's a very popular opinion of a lot of Overwatch players. It's such a well-designed map, and it's a well-designed raw map, which is what we're kind of going for. Even though Sigma is typically considered that Poe kind of vibe, he plays so well into this meta composition right now, where he stays alive for so long because of that brawl, stay close backline of Baptiste and Lucio. And then you have the flexibility of, at least with the Soldier and the Bastion, you can play a little bit up close, or you can play where Sigma is comfortable, which is a little bit of that poke game, keep him out for a little bit longer, especially on that first choke, before he even gets to the point. This is where Sigma can really, really shine with this composition that they have adopted recently.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you kind of will just elect to go that way, even though we thought they'd maybe go more of the traditional rush. But they're honestly, it's the same kind of concept, just with Rich on the Sigma instead of the Rhine, trying to match just a little bit more of that poke to aid Eclipse. Auburn, at least the Brad, are going to try and get a few Widow picks to their name at the very beginning. See if anybody makes the mistake of peeking their head out just a little bit too much right next to that statue, but everything else will be a mirror for both sides. As you can tell, you know, meta is starting to settle in, especially now. The hog changes, I don't believe they're even able to be played right now in EGF, but even if they were, they honestly made hog worse, I think. So, not a shock that the meta, at least tank-wise, hasn't changed a whole lot.
Yeah, for sure. And thankfully, right? So the Brad not able to see any good targets with the Widow, switching quickly over to the Mei to help his team out a little bit more here. As we go around and play around the statue, Kobe burning the shields, getting a little bit low there, has to retrieve it in time. And then we have a double Mei wall coming in, and the cryo freeze to help stay alive a whole lot longer. No lamp from Obese Chicken, forcing a little bit of Auburn to kind of go back around the statue. We do have Rich walled off, and the quick response of Rich's team, although was very impressive, was just not enough. Rich and YouTube Kelp both go down for the count from after the window is popped open, and that is a very clean start for Auburn University to get this Kings Row map started and going.
Yeah, they were the team that always wanted to make sure, hey, our walls are going down first, force them try and make an adaptation. I will give credit to Kelp. Those first few walls were actually pretty good to try and counter it out, but the last one just wasn't enough. Lamp will actually be forced as you kind of prep their archway hold, and no, they're going to maybe try and touch.
Oh, they're definitely going to try to touch, but not going to be enough. The Blizzard was very, very good, but the wall was looking even better. Although they do win this team fight, at the end of the day, you unlock the objective. You have 5 minutes to play around with. You may have lost the team fight, but the objective is there. You have it unlocked, and you have so much time to play with. YouTube Kelp, oh, not even just YouTube Kelp, I'm sorry. A good portion of the University of Connecticut staying on this high ground, but Auburn University, very quick response going around the back end. The Flux coming out, and then has to use a sound barrier to keep the team alive even longer. There is the Blizzard coming in from the Brad, and it is a complete reversal, a punish of positioning coming in from Auburn University. University of Connecticut cannot be on that high ground when the entire team spawn is right there.
Yeah, I don't blame them for trying to be at least a little bit aggressive, try that close hold, and they do force out a few ults, but it won't be able to last too long, as Eclipse will be able to get out with their life, but it'll be 2 ults used for UConn, and it'll be 2 or off as well, which, especially that Blizzard from the Brad, just takes down Rich and this guy so quickly. Just punishes that, like you said, a little bit too aggressive of a position, and now they can start making their way through the streets.
They absolutely will. All right, halfway through to point B, YouTube Kelp does go down for the count. So that's another great advantage here in terms of how many players, how many teammates we have. We have a 4v5 going on in favor of Auburn. And wisely, University of Connecticut says, okay, we'll take the fight a little bit back. We'll play a little more passively as we allow Auburn to turn this corner with the payload. And the Brad just kind of throwing out the secondary fire, trying to get a really sneaky headshot around this corner. But thankfully, University of Connecticut playing this corner, playing these covers so beautifully. That's a huge rock on code right there, forcing out the Flux. Who gets Flux? We see we have the Immortality Field. Eclipse stays alive for this overclock to have some use. And it definitely does, getting a pick off of Obese Chicken and then kind of forcing off the rest of Auburn University.
I don't know if it's done yet. Oh yeah, Auburn brought it back. Riptide finds 2, and they don't find quite enough with it. The Flux from Kobe, even though, yes, they're not able to live to see the full completion of its effects, it is enough to, it just stalls out Eclipse. They see nobody for the first 2 seconds of their ult. And they're able to pick up the last few, 4.25 minutes now. They're able to go through this first corner with ease, but again, these walls are starting to go the other way.
Biggest counter Sigma are these walls. Without Sigma, without May, he will have a much easier time dealing with these. Obese Chicken. Obese Chicken. Okay.
They knew they were resetting. I think they knew they were
like
they were needing to hit the reset button. I can't blame them necessarily. Maybe not the greatest thing for your teammates to get a screenshot of, but it does at least have the right effect. And now with 3.5 left, Auburn has the window to use very early, but Obese Chicken, it's got to play their life. They've been taken out so early in some of these fights.
Oh, that was such a good Maywall to block the line of sight of the snowball from YouTube Kelp and then punishing YouTube Kelp, getting rid of him by Riptide and then popping the window from this long point of view that allows, oh my god, allows Auburn to just take it and run with it. Getting a bunch of good picks, trying to catch the retreating Lucio. Oh, it's a Lucio chase here, but oh my god, Tis does get out with the string of his teeth, and Charles going to pick up his fellow DPS. Good Lucio play right here. Rich has this long area to utilize, going with the Flux, and no dice. Everyone does stay alive a little bit longer. The window just slightly too short, and then the Blizzard to counteract. Although the Immortality Field was used, you don't see many picks here, except for the double Immortality Fields do get the picks.
Yeah, the lamps are both down. Cyber had to be using his guys, and partly enough, Charles still holding on to theirs. If they feel like they need it during this fight, it's kind of just a stalemate. Everybody's waiting for those cooldowns to come back, and now the wall goes down, and Rich is left all alone.
Rich has to go under the lamp. The lamp gets immediately destroyed by Riptide popping the overclock. And we are someone's one. It's gonna be Rich going down, and then Nels following right after. Oh, nice triple 3K before 4K? Yes. Absolutely, Riptide utilizing overclock to the fullest extent. They might be able to get one more touch if they go to the opposite side. Good wall and good freeze from the Brad, actually. I think that actually clutched out the game. The instant that middle pillar was broken, they just said, oh, I'm gonna sit right here. No one can get through, no one can get in. Securing the 3 points and 2 minutes on the clock for Auburn University.
Yeah, nice little body block at the end. They're like, no, you're not touching. Sorry about that. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it's not happening today. As 2 minutes, like you said, on the clock, very nice for Auburn, especially considering, Streets of Fades got a little sticky, especially during the beginning when you kind of had that close hold, but the Tigers able to burst through, and this is more of the style that we've seen Auburn have traditionally this season, and a lot of it is honestly the walls from the Brad. We talked about it a few times, and I think Obese Chicken is starting to reel back the aggressiveness just a little bit, because I think they've realized UConn are a strong enough team where they will immediately see, like, hey, no, they're out of position, they're being aggressive, the punish is going to be there a lot of the time, and I think them just playing their life a little bit more is paid infinite right now for Auburn.
Yeah, for sure. You see that Obese Chicken, backing up the aggression, didn't die as often, at least by themselves. Wasn't the first pick all the time, and I think that's also what helps sway Auburn into not folding as often as well. Keeping that main support alive. Not literally main support, but keeping your main source of healing alive is really, really important here. University of Connecticut has to get the push through. We're going to see Rich switching over to the Reinhardt in this Sigma Reinhardt duel, which I love seeing a Reinhardt. I think Reinhardt is a really, really fun guy, and when you're all stuck together and you're playing behind that shield and you are playing these corners, you can only go up from here. So playing this corner very beautifully, going into fire strikes. There's a Mei wall interrupting any healing or potential damage from the rest of the team, but the immortality has to come out as you are walled off, and that is Rich going down for the count almost immediately. Unfortunately, had gotten walled off. It really is that simple.
Yeah, just gets walled off, not able to find the exit from that wall, and the staggers will start coming in now from the rest of the team as UConn will have to reset. With Orion going into the SIG, they just have to play incredibly fast. But the catch-22 of that is, if you're playing too fast and somebody gets walled off, then your entire attack can crumble in front of your eyes. So it'll be a very hard balancing game here for UConn to play aggressive, but not get caught up with the counterpunch.
Yeah, for sure. Not the worst thing. You still have about 3 minutes left to take this point, and the aggression is coming. Both walls are gone, though. That at least gives Rich a lease on life, not having to deal with. And there's a double window. There's a shield up. We have a soldier flanking. We have a lot of things going on, but that big old shield at 280 is going low, but we're going on to the archways. That's the objective being activated. It's also a flux from Kobe. We have a sound barrier for that. No response, no dives, but the Blizzard is the response we need as Kobe gets super separated from his team. One more pick, and that's going to be Charles. Although attempting to contest a point, contest the objective, not going to be enough. And we push up throughout the streets. No main wall. It's going to be left up to this guys to keep that payload moving.
Yeah, nice little May play there from Kelp. Just initially sets the wall, and honestly, Rich as well just keeps the team at bay. During that flux, doesn't allow the supports to try and help out their tank. And the Blizzard was just a nice touch, like, hey, no, Kobe is dying. Like, they are in no man's land. They will get shut down on the Brad. We'll try and look for something similar now that they have their Blizzard brought up.
Double wall here, really sneaky May wall in order to help Rich get up and over Brad's May wall too. So very, very good position. We do almost have Shatter. We go outline inside the Blizzard. Unfortunately, we do see Cup does get freeze, but great job on Rich keeping his defense a little bit alive as Riptide just rips out the overclock. Not able to get anything from it quite yet. There's a Shatter from underneath the payload. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Eclipse finishing Obese Chicken off with his own overclock.
Yeah, they were just patiently waiting like, hey, come on, let's get that Shatter built up, and our Eclipse finds 2 of their own. The wall finishes it off. Beautiful patience there for UConn to win the fight and potentially finish second phase. They just kind of sit around. Auburn not able to capitalize from the Blizzard of their own. Rich was basically just body blocking for help. And even though they do lose 1 during the fight, it's just not enough for Auburn to be able to turn it around. And now Riptide will give up on the Soj. They'll go over to the Bastion to try and help with that shield even more from Rich.
And I completely agree with this pick, especially with the window being at the window here. Who can make it out? There's a shield. There's a Rich is really low, forcing out the lamp. And it's gonna be YouTube Cub starting the momentum here, getting rid of Charles, getting rid of Riptide from Eclipse. And now suddenly it goes back in the favor of the University of Connecticut. Although we did have a very scary moment there where Rich was very low, was walled off for a second. We're able to bring it right back up and continue this push, even continue all this space making as well. Bastion had you terraform so far away, has to be really careful. No targets in sight, 11-second cooldown. You can play a little bit more passively, but Eclipse does go down for the count. Huge momentum play for the side of Auburn.
Yeah, and they will just push Connecticut away. UConn don't want to play this without their Soj, knowing that that is their first, and more than likely, the player that will be able to get that first pick, have that potential. So they'll just chill out for a moment. Ult advantage now shifts towards Auburn ever so slightly, as the window though is back up for Nels. Has a nice advantage now over Obese Chicken with that previous fight with.
For sure, can definitely see the window being used here, but instead I stand corrected. It will instead be Brad's Blizzard taking care of this guy, is taking care of any kind of advantage that University of Connecticut might have had with a window opening and having to force another reset. Thankfully, Nels still has the window in his back pocket, and we also have another Shatter coming right up on the back end. So you can see a little sneaky moment here with the Shatter window combo, or even if we get the overclock as well, another Shatter overclock combo going in here. But before we get to all that, Rich waiting for the opportunity to utilize the Shatter. We get rid of the May. We Shatter into the May wall, and then Kobe as a return. The flux into artillery cannon. No dice though. Getting no picks though.
Yeah, one of the better combos in the game. It's just a slightly mistimed. Auburn's not able to get the artillery strike down quick enough. People to start moving away. And the Blizzard, though, in perfect placement and timing as the overclock will be able to help finalize those kills. You wonder, though, did they use too much during that fight? Depending on if Auburn can touch. They had to use 4 ults during it. Auburn should be able to get at least somebody on this card.
Alright, the window in right in the middle of the stage here should be super good. Right behind the payload, and if we switch over to Orisa for that survivability factor, and we enter in with the sound barrier, and I love that idea from Auburn University. Eclipse on the back line, taking picks from a very safe distance. Everyone wants to contest the payload, but no one is checking Eclipse for a second. We get some imperative picks here, and I think Eclipse should secure us the game just from being a little bit too much of a hassle to get to. Allows himself to get a lot of value out of just Soldier and Railgun. However, we both got 3 points, but oh wait, we're close on time. We're close on time. Very close.
Yeah, 7 seconds the difference, which honestly you can say just a little bit of cart stall time. So, in all honesty, going to be the same time bank going into overtime for both teams, but it will be UConn on the attack first, just due to them having that slightly lower time bank. But again, they just continue to capitalize on these opening picks, catching Auburn off guard. And Auburn, some of these ult combos just aren't coming through. We saw the Flux paired with the artillery strike. Those didn't get any picks. You know, yes, the Shatter from Rich hit just a lot of air. But UConn's just been a little more consistent with those ult values, especially from the Blizzard and the Windows as well from Nels. So they'll be looking to keep that going as Auburn. They're just going to stick to the Bastion straight away. It at least worked a little bit better than the Sojourn did, especially against this Rhyme.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what's going on in chat right now, but yes, for sure. I'm a big fan of the Bastion pick, especially because you have such a small window of time to make your statement, make this defense play work. And why not go with one of the most high damage output heroes in the game, that being Bastion, with paired with 2 really good supports to keep him alive, right? So University of Connecticut coming in right through the hotel from the back end, and gonna have to force Auburn University in a really uncomfortable position here. But what's more uncomfortable is the fact that we don't have a DPS, we don't have a tank, and we don't have a support. 2 supports. Oh, that was fast. That 30 seconds gone. Eclipse, the last to go. Big stagger here. You don't want this. Eclipse, the very last person to die. So look how much time you're wasting. That fight pretty much quote unquote ended at 1:30, and they can only regroup now at 1:16.
Yeah, it's rough, but at least it was quick. They have at least one more, arguably 2 more goes at this, depending on how fast they want to play it. As Auburn, now they're going to try and stall this out just a little bit. Try and make this a 1-fight time bank.
Okay, Kobe is a little bit low here. You realize a great grasp from Kobe there, getting some overhealth, and as well as the healing from his backline. But we are really separated. We do have Charles trying to go around, but then Rich getting a little bit too tunnel vision, goes right into that corner, and the rest of Auburn do a wonderful job of just kind of dogpiling into that corner, realizing, hey, UConn just cornered themselves. Let's take this advantage and let's run with it. We have 30 seconds left on the clock, pretty much. We have a quick switch. Kelp going over to the Junkrat, and then Rich going over to the Sigma. The Sigma a play here, and then Junkrat a little bit slippier, can definitely get a lot of mileage out of just throwing out that projectile and utilizing Junkrat traps. Let's see how this works here. No trap, however, but Kelp still killing in the backline, throwing out a bunch of damage or to do like 120 hits. Look, the Brad gone, dusted, 40 HP. We can still do this. Definitely doable for University of Connecticut right now. And as I say that, Kobe drops down for a Flux.
Flux comes through, artillery strike comes through as well to try and finish. This is very back and forth still. Spawn advantage obviously in favor of UConn, but it won't matter as the beat, I don't know how that's not an Ajax, but they will still fall, and they will not earn a tick. This is now 1-fight win territory here for Auburn on their attack.
Okay, now Eclipse 9 with the slide can be able to take in YouTube Kelp, although trying to go to the last minute Tracer switch, not going to be quite fast enough to make it. Poor Tracer, not in England today. So, still 3-3. This should be so doable to take.
Very doable here. It's just one fight win, even though You know, we've been saying, hey, we want a map 6 at some point. We could have it pending on if this is a tie. It would at least be the prerequisite for that to happen. I know Time to Light in the background would love to see that. Maybe not for his sleep schedule, but for the sake of entertainment. Yes.
Wow.
Utilizing chat. UConn will make a little bit of a change here. They will go over to the Sigma themselves. Not going to try the Rhine as... Yeah, okay, you're lucky, man. I wish I didn't have class tomorrow. No, they're going to swap back, actually. They want to stick to the Rhine, which I honestly thought they should have stayed on the Sigma, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like the Sigma pick. Like, even though it was last minute, I feel like Sigma does so well into Sigma. Especially if you can just mimic the back line and mimic kind of what your DPS are going for. Although we started out with the same DPSs, look at the different... Oh, I got trolled. Brad completely trolled me. We're going to stay with the Mei. She's been working out so well, especially the way that the Brad is utilizing those walls preemptively and just cutting off Rich so quickly. And on the Reinhardt, not that much harder to do. Same way, we're going straight around the hotel, trying to just wall off the rest of the team here. Eclipse, oh my god, Eclipse is right down. This might be a fight already won if we don't get a pick. Oh, that's it. They're backing a little too far. Someone has to contest. It's gonna have to be Rich. But it's instead gonna be Tis guys and YouTube Kelp trying against that little corner area. Thankfully, Charles able to get out of that hair situation against the wall. We are halfway ticked for the first tick. Eclipse should be back by now, but Rich is down. As you get one back, one goes down, two goes down. It's looking grim. It's looking really grim here. We have a cryo freeze on point. Trying to get as long as possible. I think this is a lost fight. It's time to let it happen. The tick is there. No dice, 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1 going into map 3. Is Auburn able to turn it around? And what a play call there at the very end. Just rotate through hotel. Don't even look at the setup that they have. Just trying to see if you can find anybody in the back line. It ends up being Eclipse, who just doesn't even know that it's coming. It's too late for them to try and be able to get out. And Auburn able to even us up at 1 apiece through 2. And that is the Auburn we've been wanting to see. I do think UConn, though, have a very good shot to continue out the series because with how close that was not, a 3-0, a 3-1. We've had a lot of 3-0 Overwatch as of late, but this is not going that direction.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get to any more action, we're going to go to cut to a really quick break. Let ourselves get some water. Let ourselves kind of relax after that next map. So we'll be right back with our next map, Saravasa. And welcome back. Oh,
Can you tell we're a little dazed by this series right now. We totally forgot who was taking intro. That's on me. But no, this series has been giving everything so far. A little bit of a mirror, a little bit of some Mei action. And as we get ready to go over to Flashpoint in Saravasa, we might see, honestly, a little bit more of this trickery, especially this map. It's all about the rotations.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's all about the rotations and all about how fast you can get from point A to point B, and then just anchor yourself there, and just play around the openings and the long hallways. I feel like in Saravasa there's so many long corridors and long entranceways that something like Sigma, even though not very speedy at all, but he dominates so well on things like Flashpoint because, especially Saravasa, because of those long range game plans. You're so oppressive. and then a couple like Lucio and any DPS really. We've been seeing Eclipse stay on the Sojourn. We've been seeing both Mays, so I can definitely see the same thing happening here. I expect a fully mirror match here with double Sigmas, double BAP Lucios, but anything can really go on Suravasa. It's still Flashpoint. It's still relatively being felt out. It's been here for a while, but right now I feel like that's probably what we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, more than likely. I could maybe see you kind of at least trying the Reinhardt to begin. I don't think it'd work very well if they do. But I could see them at least trying it on first round to see, like, hey, is it actually gonna work? And even though we haven't talked about the Sojas a lot outside of their overclocks, this is the map, like you said, it's going to show up. Like, getting those initial picks, especially even the disruptor shots to try and keep them away at these choke points, every single second matters on a Flashpoint because of how fast the percentage goes up on these control points. You need to be able to make sure you get as much time as possible and even like elongate some of these fights if you are in control, because it could turn into a one fight situation.
Exactly. And sometimes some of these points you cap point, other teams trying to get there from their respawn. Unfortunately, they get the L respawn, they're like 100 things away. And halfway through the point, you get one team fight and it's done. If you don't recapture in that one team fight, it's out of your hands. You gotta just roll back and go to the next one. You have at the very least, unlike control point, you have 5 points to deal with. This is your own best of 3 set here. It's just really, really funny about Flashpoint. So definitely a comeback. A lot of comebacks do happen. It can go so one side or another. And I think that's why I like Flash. I'm starting to really like Flashpoint because it's so hectic, at least to watch. I love watching Flashpoint. So many things always happen.
Yeah, watching Flashpoint, like, unpredictability is always going to be there. Playing Flashpoint can be a little agitating, especially if you're getting staggered out and you can't touch point. I've had a lot of nights of just being very frustrated at this game, but it is one that benefits being in an organized team setting, and I think we've seen that more and more of teams really getting used to this new game mode. Auburn are gonna change it up a little bit. Charles, at least right now, we'll see if he changes within the last second. He will, of course.
Okay, about to say, don't troll
They
me.
will actually run what they ran at the end of King's Row with the Bastion instead of the Sojourn, and UConn will do the same thing, just with the Sim actually to stick around.
Yeah, for sure. Rich, like you said, staying with the Rhine, hopefully made for one game. Oh, they're doing a thing again.
Yep, they're gonna wait to TP in, just like they did over on Ilios. And I think Auburn, they have a better idea of what's happening this time.
Yeah, they went straight to point. No tomfoolery to be had. Even negating the Sim teleport a little bit there by just separating a team for a second, and that separation was just enough to get rid of Rich in this first team fight. The first pick, in fact, that ends up letting the entirety of University of Connecticut have to just fall back. Amp speed out. I'm not sorry, amp speed to catch. I'm sorry, and then now it's taking care of tie, but I think it's a done deal. They taking the point in their favor, and then this whole stagger, poor Tis, has to wait for the rest of his team because without Tis, they can't get there in a timely manner.
Yeah, and especially with those staggers, by the time this first fight truly begins, we'll already be over halfway to this first Flashpoint being captured, and that's what we said earlier. You can really turn it into initial fight, one team fight when you're controlling, and that's it. That's exactly the position Auburn are in now.
Alright, going right back to the high ground, and again, booped right off by the sharp eyes of Charles. Okay, there's the window, and Kobe goes down, trying to get a grasp of the window for an extra overhelp, but not going to be enough. As Rich, again, I'm sorry we didn't mention this earlier, going to the Sigma in that mirror match and playing a lot more what I was expecting, more in tune with what I was thinking for Flashpoint. One more pick, and that is Riptide down. Beautiful turnaround for University of Connecticut off of just one switch, going in for the the Sigma mirror match. Always a very fun thing to do. Now we have 20% on the board. Definitely not outside the realm possibility, but we do have a couple of ultimates lining up for both teams here. B is happening for University of Connecticut, so I can see something that being activated if there's a really big aggressive push from Auburn University.
Especially, I don't blame them going to Sigma. It helps counter out the Bastion as well, which didn't allow Rich to really do a whole lot on the Rhine. But now we know we get thrown in. Blizzard just gets struck right into the mix of it.
As Venn diagram, our favorite thing in the world, graphs. And then Charles quick with it, getting the sound barrier out for his teammates. And yeah, I think that's a lost fight for University of Connecticut. Just has to regroup, or maybe it could take a little bit longer. You see Tiz still on the point, trying to make sure this point does not go in favor of Auburn, but at some point it will. It's at 99%. No one able to contest. Even Rich, even though last one standing, still has to fold down and regroup with his team. First point of possibly 5 going towards Auburn. It could definitely go either way though. As we move to our next flashpoint, which I think we're already here. We're chilling.
Yeah, UConn already beginning to set up with the sim. I have a feeling Eclipse is probably swapping off after they use ult. Is it not that point? No, it's not actually. So they set up on the rush point. They were actually shifting over to where Auburn's actually set up. So this gamble did not pay off initially for UConn.
Unfortunate, and that's a huge start. Kobe utilizing the floods, getting rid of Rich and Nels. This pretty much again secures this second point on Auburn, which I think is the funniest thing in the world, that we both thought it was the other point because they're getting set up and it wasn't. I think that was also a big factor. Auburn just went straight to the next point and just set themselves up and are basically being this wall, this barrier. They're being stubborn, not moving from this area. Rich getting the flux out. Kobe's won, and they got him! The wall is a little bit too late. He's gonna take it right back down and continue this push. Bastion has that window to use though, so they have to get the cover now.
They'll just use the symbol so they can actually push right back in, and they will get the Bastion off of it. There's not a whole lot of Beast Chicken can do. The rest of their team will fall around them. Nice little counterplay to finally use that wall, but 67% already on this flashpoint for the Tigers. Didn't have to do a whole lot during that fight. Now UConn can finally settle in for the first time since the very first fight of the initial flashpoint. They don't have a lot to play with. They have the beat from Tiz guys. Charles is soon to bring theirs. I think if they can get the beat from Charles before the Blizzard is used, they will be in a great spot to take this point right now.
They absolutely will. And with Kelp having the Blizzard in the back pocket, there's 2 Blizzards. We could be seeing another Venn diagram here. We hate math, but certainly we don't mind seeing doubles. I think, not double sound barrier. We do have double Blizzard and 1 sound barrier. Now 2 of them. Nothing taken off of the sound barrier, off of the Blizzard, but we do get some follow-ups with Kobe and Eclipse both going down. The Brad falling right through UConn, able to continue to contest this and maintain this point in their favor, as thankfully it kind of worked out in their favor. Obese Chicken opting to just quickly reset, get out of there, but not gonna be enough. We're at 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and the point goes 1-1. Next flashpoint we are rushing towards, and Kobe might be careful here. They might butt heads for a second while they're both traveling to the next flashpoint.
Yeah, they might be meeting up on the journey there. That is part of the chaos that is flashpoint, is some of these rotations. As it will be, a little bit of a fight going on. Flux is actually going to be used very early on here, and it does pick up Charles, which is a massive pickoff. If they can capitalize on it, they almost lose. They do lose Tiz guys in the action of it.
And they lose OB, and I'm sorry, on time Auburn OB Chicken also goes down, so it kind of evens out for University of Connecticut. It works out in their favor. They took out Riptide and they took out OB's Chicken, 2 very important assets to this competition they are working with from King's Row basically. Third point technically going over and starting in UConn's favor. We do have a Flux ready on Kobe's side. We don't have much of an ult economy built up for University of Connecticut, which is a big factor here. All we have is window that pretty much would negate one sight line, which is probably going to be either this one right here or the back end coming in with their artillery cannon, and that is going to be a pick. Yes, it does. Now it's down. Immortality Field is not enough for those 3 hits. I wish it was, but it'd be kind of broken, wouldn't it?
It'd be just, a little broken, and they're finally able to land that combo they've been trying to do all night. And it comes out big this time. It should result in a point flip after the stalls come through. It'll be the May stalling it out a little bit longer, but they will be 3/4 of the way there at 75%. And that is where the flip will occur. UConn at least have a lot to use, but nice little patience there, poking in and then using that flux up. And the lamp can only do so much, like you said. It's broken after that first hit from the artillery strike. And Auburn can try and use this window early to see if they can just stall this fight out just a little bit.
Oh, and they certainly do, and just immediately tears down Brad's Maywall, and then we realize Kelp's Blizzard just a big turn here in favor of, yeah, definitely in favor of UConn. Thankfully, great Sunbear from both Charles and Sis guys, but it's gonna be going towards UConn in favor. There's a connection, not connection. There is a contest from both the Brad and Charles, but at some point, even though you did get it to 70%, I'm sorry, 64%, that 75% is gonna continue on to 85 and gonna be ticking even faster than before. I'm not entirely sure they're gonna have time to contest, so they're probably gonna try to guesstimate the next flashpoint is going to go towards, and yep, absolutely 2-1 going in favor of University of Connecticut. Just one more point is all they need to take this to a point lead.
They're going over to Palace, where I believe this is the one that UConn initially, set up at, leading up to the second flashpoint thing, and that's where it would be. And they will be getting there just a little bit faster, but Auburn will be able to gain that high ground control over in Blue Room, and UConn will actually forego point control to try and challenge them up there.
Well, that was a really cool rock, and that's a really big flux we could be getting. All right, it was a really big flux, having to keep everyone in one little room that allows the Eclipse to hopefully get this overclock and get it some value, but instead we had to retreat a tiny bit, go back to the main point, help our tank out. A little bit too late though. Rich has got down, and the entirety of UConn's game plan kind of falls apart. They got a little bit too separated. The overclock from Eclipse got little to no value. Auburn takes the point for themselves, 10% on the board and counting very quickly. The next couple of fights here are going to be imperative, especially in the ult economy. Nels does have the window, and we do have pretty much even percentages almost on Blizzards right now, so we might be seeing another double Blizzard, but no sound barrier to protect either team.
Yeah, they'll be using a defensive Blizzard here from the Brad, as they Connecticut's trying to force in the early ice block, and it just turns all the way around back onto them. They'll try and back out with just Rich being the casualty, but I'm unsure if that will be the case as Auburn continue to push up. They will push them back into their spawn, which they can't even get to until that wall is broken. The map will barely survive, but no, they gotta start pushing in pretty quickly here. 75% counting on this flash event already. They don't have a lot of time to work with.
No, they don't. We do have a flux from Kobe, at least another one very quickly. That Nels is forced to pop out the window right in the main way, and then there's the flux coming in from Kobe, and that's huge. It goes around to the Blizzard, which kind of protects the rest of the team from any more casualties. The Brad down, Kobe also down with a rock in question. Having used the grass, gets a little bit of overhealth. Can the supports heal him in time? They will be able to. Oh, I lied. No. Complete turn situation there. Kobe looked like he was gonna make it out, but instead it's Rich who clutches out in the end. This guy's keeping the team alive. The little bit of healing he can provide in that beautiful aura. And finally, although it's 99 to 15 right now, it's definitely doable. We don't have too many ults lined up for Auburn, and at least for Connecticut, they can get a really good flux in, maybe defensively, if it gets to around that 45 to 60%.
Yeah, that beat from Tiz guys was absolutely massive. Even though they lose Nels early, they know they need that extra health, and that is what changes the fight to go back in their direction, even though the overclock was used. And now Rich, already a lamp has to get used on them because they're...
Alright, there's that flux I was talking about, and thankfully it finished too. I feel so smart. Kobe down again, and that's a double tank kill. So this is pretty much a free-for-all DPSs and supports. What do we get? We get one Blizzard on the high ground. Kelp flies out of there, but it's not gonna be enough. It is just Nels and this guy's keeping it together. We have an emerald field. We have a lamp. Are we gonna clutch this? No way. No way. Ah. No way indeed. This guy's still on there. We have a beat drop and we have a Doomfist to help us out. Wait. We may be seeing another game. We may be seeing the game go in favor of UConn if we keep this momentum going.
Yeah, they have the reinforcements coming in. Auburn will make some swaps as well to try and get back over to this point. The Brad is on the Soldier. They find Rich. That might have been the pick they needed. Yeah, the healing just is not there. We will be going to a final round of Flashpoint, as Nels was the one that was the last to arrive, and when your flex support is the last one to arrive, it's going to be hard because the healing just is not there. Point flipped. Now you wonder how many flipping changes back in heroes will we see after so many changes just to try and stall and get there as quickly as they can, as Nels will make that swap back over to the Baptiste. For the most part, UConn will get there first, but they won't have everyone at full strength quite yet. But yeah, Auburn, you wonder if they were just, yeah, they're going back to spawn, make those swaps back onto the DPS that they need. Soldier and Tracer worked for the time being, but not going to be ideal here for this very crucial next fight.
Yeah, this next fight is pretty much gonna, it's literally the last fight. Whatever happens here, you see so perfectly on both ends here. And what better way to do that? Just start off with the Flux into Immortality Field. We're gonna be coupling that with the Blizzard on the side of YouTube Kelp as a punish. Why would you Flux me? Let's just punish you with that beautiful Flux, and then that beautiful Blizzard. And that's already Uniconverse Connecticut making a statement, making sure this point starts out in their favor and hopefully ends the same way. We do have the Eclipse ready with the overclock. Hasn't been seeing too much value of it as of late, but hopefully, because now that we have our backs to the wall, we have to make this point work in order to get ourselves a lead on the scoreboard. Hopefully, that'll work out very beautifully for Eclipse. Before we do all that, Auburn University coming right back to main.
Yeah, heading into main after one ult used from each side of the Flux, just not enough for Auburn that time. And now Eclipse looking to see if they can close out this map with the overclock, and it will have to be Kelp who gets that opening pick. The window just trying to keep everyone alive here for Auburn.
Oh, this is a very, very imperative overclock being used by Eclipse. We're gonna be coupling with the Baptiste window, and Kobe does go down, cornered off. Unfortunately, of course, couldn't really get to him. And now Eclipse coming in a little bit overshooting the window, but still being the aggressor, making sure we get rid of supports, get rid of the rest of the team, and draw out this fight as long as possible. They're not going to be able to really get anything going here. Okay, we go in with the sound barrier in order to contest. You are walled off. Alexi cannot heal you. You had to go in. The ball switch may be imperative here in order to keep this contesting even longer. You had the Flux, wait, and we instantly use it. Get out of the Blizzard. We interrupted by the Blizzard from the Brad.
That might be enough to switch it back around. Depending on what Rich can do, it will be enough for the time being, as it will be Eclipse launched up. Auburn able to squeak it back because of the Sigma getting caught in the Blizzard, and now Auburn going to try and make another change, but you wonder how quickly will UConn be able to get back into this. I think, yeah, they've realized we can't go back and swap. We do not have the time. We are just going to have to ride it out with a Wrecking Ball instead, which is obviously not ideal. He's not played very often for a reason. So it will be a little bit difficult, as the Bastion is now in this hodgepodge setup now for the Tigers.
I feel it. This has happened to me in Scrim all the time and in actual competition. Sometimes you gotta do what works. What works is backcapping the point and putting it back in UConn's favor, making the fight even that much harder. Riptide has to use Overclock, and there's a Blizzard from a YouTube Kelp, although YouTube Kelp does go down. Not think anyone really wants to contest any longer. Our ball from Kobe is super low right now, but so is Rich. Wait, this is huge. Even though it went back in the favor of UConn, they wrap it back up. They get a team kill, in fact. Listen. I'm a humongous fan of the Moira pick. I always go Moira on Flashpoint. She is so good. You lose out the immortality and utility of Baptiste, because Moira has no utility, arguably. But the damage output you can get in those tight spaces with the damage orb, chef's kiss, truly. We have one more team fight to utilize and win for UConn. If not, it goes to Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn probably kicking themselves if they didn't hold on to that point, because if they did during that last fight, this game would be over. Kobe uses the mines, they get it off, but they die for their crimes, and it's hard for UConn to really go in right now. It's kind of just Rich stuck in a corner, but now some of the lanes have opened up. Eclipse is able to find one, but not enough. It'll be the mines who takes them out, but the point does get flipped over, and Auburn need to play from behind yet again.
Hey, I love that Risa using the javelin spin in order to take everyone off the point, but everyone has movement here. Everyone can contest even longer. Charles and Evertide do go down. That should be it. No one able to touch in time, and finally, University of Connecticut, they take it in a heated 99, 2 points to 2 points battle, duking it out and finally securing that fifth and final point of Flashpoint, making it 2-1 on the scoreboard. That was absolutely that cured my headache, funnily enough.
that was an insane performance, but Auburn, to an extent, have themselves to blame if they hold on to that point during that fight previous. The map is done, and Auburn have a 2-1 lead, so obviously not ideal circumstances here for the Tigers, which I admit they made the ball comp work to an extent when that comp had no reason to work whatsoever, especially on Flashpoint, but they were able to at least make it work for a little bit of time. But UConn now one map away from the upset victory here over the Tigers, and we will get to see Circuit Royale for the first time tonight, thank goodness. But it's not like that's going to change the compositions we see. It's going to be a lot of the same Sigma comps that we have seen, but maybe, just maybe, we see a little bit more of the snipers this time around.
Oh, for sure. They're the most dominating stage here, and I don't think either DPS are afraid of going that Widow Hanzo comp that we see so popular in Circuit Royale coupled with the Sigma. Oh, it should be a very interesting map, especially because, like you said, we haven't seen it all night tonight, which is very surprising. That's just how efficient our teams are playing today, right? And playing, even though they've been 3-0. Don't think it's like they're running them over. No, everyone is playing to the fullest extent. Imagine that Flashpoint game, but literally that was every other game previously in previous sets. So going at Circuit Royale, Sigma definitely gonna be the favorite here from both teams. I imagine both of them are so efficient at that character. I think a lot of the rest of the comp can really flex around that Sigma. What does Sigma want to do? We want to be a little more pokey, want to be a little more snipey. We can definitely do that. And as we go into our players, we can see where they're going to be starting out here, right now. I'm personally excited for Circuit Royale. I've grown to kind of enjoy this map a little.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it a little bit more now than what I used to, as we do see one sub come in here for Auburn. Namugi will step in for the flex support spots. So this actually was for the main support. This screams double flex support being played here for Auburn, putting Obese Chicken on the Zen, which not a shock whatsoever, knowing how Obese Chicken likes to play. They will be on the offense first. That is what they elect. So it'll be UConn on the defense. They will also go the double flex support, but it'll be the Alari, actually, instead of the Zen, using that pylon for a little bit more sustain, which allows Tiz guys to, be a little aggressive with some of those shots.
Yeah, for sure. Tiz guys has been finally released from Lucio jail. Can we get a woohoo? We are going to be starting off with that sniper comp we're talking about from Auburn. They're going to be starting the attack, and immediately the Brad. I knew it was going to be the Brad on the Widow. I believe we saw him on the Widow a little bit on King's Road just to get a really quick pick, and then we'll switch off to the May, of course. So I'm loving the pick here and the confidence to play Widow. You're better than me by far. Peeking and already getting a very beautiful platonic clips. Can we get a second one? No, we get a lot of poking, a lot of extra damage, forcing University of Connecticut to just back off the bridge and allow that pylon to be bursted as well. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be a really tough battle for Auburn to deal with, because for Connecticut to deal with, because of the fact they're not playing that brawl of both. They're playing that long range, you can't do anything about me composition.
Yeah, they're gonna have they're gonna have an issue trying to match Brad on the range, just because they are better set for it, especially with the Hanzo as well, to try and break Rich's shield fairly quickly. They will keep it as May and Soj for now. The Soj can work. The May be a little bit of an issue, but we'll see if they're able to use it more to try and counteract Kobe taking some of the space, as the wall will go down. It'll just kind of force an awkward position, but nothing much else. So Connecticut will just play this corner and try and stay out of line of sight, especially now the infra sight is active.
Yep, and that was a very quick infra sight as well. Beautiful testament to how well Brad is playing on the Widow. Another pick on YouTube, Kelp. Kobe taking down Rich as well. That has to be, that should be able to give them a lot of space to take this first point in their favor and start another assault. They're already going up on the high ground. I love the aggression from the entire team here, trying to let Namugi move the point up, and if need be, they can TP Kitsune and honestly dip out if they really need to.
Yeah, running the Kiriko Zen instead of the Bap Zen that we traditionally see, it's definitely a choice, but I don't mind it, actually. Especially when you're running double sniper, you don't need a lot of heals like you would if you were running a May, and that's why Connecticut is running the Bap and the Alari together. So Namugi's been able to try and land some of these shots as well, and even the very quick cleanses just to get Kobe out of a little bit of an awkward spot.
We're gonna be entering the fight with the Flux here, and with Immortality Field and with Ilari's beautiful healing output, we do not get any picks off of the Flux from Rich, but that doesn't really matter when Transcendence is used by Obese Chicken as a response to the Blizzard, which I also love as well. This is all around very, very good ult usage coming in from Auburn University, and also just capitalizing on everything. University of Connecticut able to take that fight in their favor, and having to keep Auburn off, and they have to regroup and wait for their tank. Still, really good push nonetheless.
And a very great push, but now it'll get stopped for at least a little bit of time. A lot of ultimates used there during that fight. I believe almost every ult was used for Auburn, and a couple used, I believe 3 or 4 there for UConn. So they have near double-digit ults, and it still doesn't go Auburn's way after they had to use more. And now they'll make a little bit of a swap. They're going to match that DPS line of Auburn, but I think the healing output still may be an issue now for them.
Yeah, for sure. As you were saying, that Mei, she's a little bit more sustained, hence why the BAP is so good here with the Lucio. Good headshot from Nemugi, even though Kiriko does have a really good healing output, and her movement is really spectacular. It may not be enough for things like Eclipse really wrecking with that overclock, taking care of the Brad, and almost a fell swoop right to the head. I love to see Eclipse just kind of dominate on the Soldier and be so good. Avoiding the Flux narrowly, our BAP is caught in it, and Nels goes down for the count, but Yari's still out there, still has good healing output. The pylon is a little bit gone though. So what can we see here? We see the Captive Sun, beautiful response. Oh! We eated it. We eated it!
That is a huge eat, and that will, yeah, this will confirm the point cap here for Auburn. It is ate up as soon as they got sent over. A very quick reaction from Kobe, and that completely shuts down the last gasp efforts from Connecticut. 3.5 minutes now on the clock for Auburn to finish potentially the hardest stretch of the map here. There is so many angles you have to try and deal with, but they at least have the time to play around it, and they will stick with the Kiriko for the moment being after use like a Tsune Rush near the end of that fight. UConn, they have the Flux and the Mei ult. That is it. We might see another Venn diagram here as Brad is also positioning for one.
Yeah, for sure. You can see both of them kind of at an off angle around the corner, wanting to use that Blizzard, but we do see a Transcendence as a response. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that Transcendence. Okay, we are actually going to be not having any casualties from either Blizzard, so that's actually a really, really good sign for both teams to just continue this long team fight going down this corridor, trying to get past the corner. We do see Riptide going in for the Eclipse, the Eclipse, oh my god, going in for the overclock. And getting a couple of really, really solid picks. I just made Eclipse into an ultimate.
Yeah.
We're in for a long haul.
Well, Kelp kind of wishes they had their Blizzard back. It got eaten up by Kobe. And so they couldn't even do anything. Yes, the Blizzard from Auburn didn't get a whole lot of offensive value, but it just denied Connecticut being able to do anything. And now Flux comes through onto the back line, forces out the window actually to be used from Nels, more for a healing than it is anything else, and Lamp has to get thrown in early as well.
And I see us trying to keep our run alive, trying to keep Rich alive, but that Discord Orb is kind of being the biggest thorn in Rich's backside, as we always say. As a Zemi myself, I know how much people hate it, and you can see in that moment, even though with full healing on Rich, nothing could be done. Rich down for the count, no tank on the side of UConn, and there's a Blizzard from YouTube Kel, but is it going to be enough with anyone to follow through? No, it's not. Unfortunately. I think it's unfortunate for University of Connecticut. They're not going to be able to contest. Oh, wait, they will. For a second, though.
Yeah, just for a second.
Just for a second.
The Blizzard, it's a nice little, decorative thing there, but UConn don't get anybody in it. Not able to capitalize from it due to that fact. And Auburn, very similar timing to what they had over on Kings Row. They will have a minute 39, which I think is about like 30 seconds left. I mean, 30 seconds less than they had over on Kings Row, but still, especially for this map, a very solid time bank.
Oh, for sure. I think they just pushed that point so smartly. Nice wall. So smartly. And University of Connecticut, they're struggling a little bit here. Rich did switch off to the Reinhardt at the very last minute, but the way that support backline, especially that Zenyatta, is keeping that Discord very diligently on Rich is so good. Even after the nerfs that we did get to the Discord Orb and the meter usage, and it's still 3 seconds, and you can't put it back on someone after 7 seconds, it was still so difficult to deal with. And that's just the difference. And like a Zenyatta who knows how to use Zenyatta and knows how to be aggressive, which is what Obese Chicken does so well on that Zenyatta. A little bit of a comp switch here. The Brad going over to the Bastion once more. Bastion, very solid here. And YouTube Kelp gonna go for the Junkrat, which this feels very familiar. I think I've seen this Junkrat before.
That's an interesting call. And they will stick to the Rhine, which little did Auburn know, the Bastion is actually going to be a better pick than they could even have thought. Presumably thinking, hey, we're gonna go up against a Sig. No, the Rhine will pop up. And that shield is not going to last very long. You can tell Rich right away. Actually, I don't think they even know yet. Brad is just kind of hiding out. They are waiting for the junk to pop over it, and it does take out Obese Chicken with the shot, but that's really it.
Yeah, that's all the value they really could get. Eclipse has to dip out of there with the grapple. Now it's trying to get out as well, but okay, we got trapped. That's a little bit funny. But with the Brad on the high ground, and no one really knowing that there was a Bastion in the first place, that was probably the biggest factor here. Canceling the charge with the rock, and that's a good opportunity to get Rich out of there. And hopefully Rich does take a switch here, just kind of maybe thinking, okay, the Bastion's gonna be the biggest problem here on my shield. It happened on King's Row. It might happen again. First pick we see here though. YouTube Kelp switching back to the Mei, and I think Eclipse will be falling right through with the Sojourn.
The payload stopped.
They don't switch off the Rhine, which is a choice.
Oh no.
I don't know. Actually, okay, them going onto the Sim at least alleviates it a little bit. They're gonna try and have Rich get even more aggressive with these TPs, but look what happens when he got aggressive this time. Estes lamp on him, and he still dies during the fight, as it is just too much damage for the lamp and healing to save them from, and just, yeah, fight win. Auburn done, and they will eventually, yeah, they're gonna cave, swap, and it just swaps left and right for UConn. Now you wonder, is the Sim even worth it at this point? And the answer is probably not, as these staggers continue to fall in, Matt.
And I just want to compliment how well Auburn is playing on this bridge, on this high ground. You know, kind of keeping Brad in the back, keeping him protected, not letting them really get to him. Because once Brad does go down, it gets that much harder for Auburn University. So to protect their Bastion this way is so nice to see. Going to go for the grass on some turret, but great patience from the Brad. We're going to be using that rock, narrowly missing it, getting the cleanse though. That gives a lot more survivability to Bastion they really wanted to deal with. The team gets slightly separated there, unfortunately, which might be the turning point UConn needed up until Rich did fall, which is not what we want to see here. Kobe takes down Tisk guys as well. And we're trying to go for the Sim again. The Sim is one. We're discorded. We have to get out of dodge. It's not going to be enough. Kobe has to flux as a defense, as a reactive option or defensive. Good wall from Kelp. You have to get out of there. You can't stay there for too long, as we have no freeze now, and you're by yourself, down and dusted by Kobe.
Yeah, they're just staggering again. Kelp and Nels die. They have to back up. And this Sim, it legitimately does nothing into this comp. I think it's something that they maybe should have swapped initially, but Auburn are taking advantage of just not allowing Eclipse close enough to do anything. The only thing that may end up being an advantage is that they are 5% away now from that. Oh, there it is. Rotom Berry is there, and they do pick up Riptide early. The Flux, oh, let's see. Jumper only hits 2.
Oh, but the Brad does get a pick off of Rich. Getting rid of Nels's Immortality Field. That, again, great changer here. Nels going in with the aggression, though. I respect it. You got this. The only person contesting card.
I don't know about that.
You got this. No. We get the 1v5. I have all my faith in Nels. We still have a Sim wall, though.
They have Sim wall. They have Blizz. They will have Flux going into this fight. The big thing is, will they be able to actually capitalize on it early enough, or is Auburn going to be the one that uses the first punches? Turret form will be used. Eclipse almost dies on the entry.
And Eclipse does in fact die on the entry. We do get the aggressive Blizzard coming in as a last-ditch effort, using the cryo phase at the very last minute. Very smart there, but your Lucio is fighting for his life on this bridge as Riptide pops to overclock and just kind of cleans everything right up. Kitsune just to rub the salt in the wound. Auburn wins on Circuit Royale, and what I've noticed recently, right now, is University of Connecticut very, very good at those control type maps, literally control map or flashpoint. But when it comes to that, the objective based game of moving the payload, going to different checkpoints, having a set defense offense position, Auburn is so dominant in that positioning, in that communication, in playing around their cooldowns and their ultimates.
Yeah, they love being able to hold those very close angles, and they know where and when to do it. We will give just them a little bit of time here as we get ready to go into map 5 after this short break. Welcome back, everybody, to the final map of the night, at least for us here on this stream, between UConn and Auburn. We do finally have a map 5 on our hands, and for the first time in what feels like forever, we'll be heading over to Coliseo to decide who is able to take this one away. And, you talked about it a little bit before the break. It seems like Auburn's done extremely well in the escort maps, and escort and hybrid. UConn did extremely well in flashpoint and control. Push is a little bit of a hybrid of both of those types of game modes, so I'm curious to see kind of which way it ends up going.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm glad we were able to kind of talk about that a little bit, where which team is best at kind of which game mode that they're really good at, and I love that we're at Coliseo. I think Coliseo is probably one of my favorite of the push maps, and the composition we're gonna be seeing here is likely the same. Although there's a lot of good sightlines that we did see, like for example, the Brad, for example, playing that Widow was so oppressive and getting such good picks. I could see them going, at least for the first part of the map, going for that long range, going for a double sniper if they really wanted to. But I can also see them going mirror matches once more with the Sigma, maybe a little bit of flexibility on the Bastion we've seen, the Soldier, and the Mei. And then support wise, Baptiste Lucio as well. So we might be seeing the same type of deal going into Coliseo, but very, very exciting nonetheless. The push bot is probably just gonna be the biggest thing. You just stay on the push bot, make sure it gets pushed, get to point A to point B, and utilize those long sightlines. You're Sigma. You got this. You're both playing Sigma. Which of you guys are the better Sigma? Who can utilize those sightlines the best here?
Yeah, especially, Sigma more and more has turned into the main hero right now of this meta. Even before, like, the Bastion nerfs came in, it was especially apparent then. But even now on maps like Coliseo with these long sight lines, and especially that bridge that is right before each tick, that has especially become probably the most important choke and push. Like Esperanza, yes, it can be a little bit hard at that initial tick, but it's not super difficult in Queen Street. It's difficult to deal with that high ground, but especially on Coliseo with that bridge, you can get poked from the top. You can even stall the bot from on the bridge, which forces the offense to really try and force something out of their hat, which I can't believe that is still considered contestable from the bridge, but it makes sense, I guess. So I want to see these teams, abuse that fact, and this initial fight will be massive. We've seen fights that go 30 seconds in this first fight. We've seen fights that go like 2-3 minutes in this first fight, just because of how many little hidey holes you can go in just to kind of chill for a second, get healed up, and then poke your head back out. So this first true fight will be a massive difference maker, and I'll say whoever gets to about, I would say like 25-30 meters first, is probably the team that's going to take this.
Oh, for sure. And I also want to mention, like, you have so many hidey holes to get some pocket healing, but you also just have two teams who are duking it out, who are so closely matched. We mentioned it today. What's going on here?
What?
We did not see... we did not expect this to go as close as it did. We definitely expected Auburn to have the favor of at least, maybe a 3-1, 3-0, but today University of Connecticut is truly showing out, and I'm glad they are. They're trolling right now. That's why they're still in spawn waiting.
Yeah, they're
exactly.
trolling.
See?
I'm like,
you see how they were still in spawn, too scared to use that Life Weaver? Go Life Weaver! Go Life
I'm
Weaver!
not falling for it again. We have fallen to it so often over the years that it's not happening anymore. They're not gonna fight mid. They're gonna try to wrap around and catch them off guard by going high ground.
I've never seen a strat.
That is where
this.
the was fitting. Well, yeah, they will drop immediately. This is okay. I don't mind this.
This is the funniest rotation I've ever seen a team go. Yeah, Kiri has completely gone from the team. It definitely can TP over if they want to, but I think they want to get a good pick on the flex supports. But once you can't, just TP right out, Suzu your team, and hopefully just kind of take around this little glass high ground that Kiriko does like to kind of go through. Even though Connecticut did get the jump on Auburn, it's Auburn that is still, alive. And as I say that, both tanks going down for the count. The bot is in favor of UConn by about 15 meters and counting. So maybe that little flank did work very beautifully for them. I love to see such a thing. Auburn has to pretty much retreat as the bot, again, just keeps moving in favor of Connecticut.
Yeah, no, the bot will continue to move on, but this will be awkward now. Yeah, Rich is coming back, but when everybody kind of switched around, Rich is going into the now back line of Auburn. This flank threw Auburn into a whirl spin, and it works out in UConn's favor. They will get to near 50 meters first.
The solo ult?
Blizzard, yeah, they get out of it right away. Kelp dies, and eventually the kill will fall, but not before 55 meters, and almost the tick is already achieved here for the Huskies.
I'll admit it. I actually got confused for a second because I completely forgot that was not University of Connecticut's original spawn. So I was like, why is the bot going backwards? No. They trolled me today. They did troll me in the end. The bot did almost reach almost reach a checkpoint. Just a little bit shy of getting that forward spawn, but I don't think they really need it quite yet. They're very confident in just maintaining being in close quarters, kind of hoping that they can take care of Kobe with the quickness, but that continued rush is going to force University of Connecticut to go into this little hiding hole we were talking about earlier. But look at that. That allows Bastion to just abuse that space, not getting any picks though. Great retreat from Tiscais, getting his team out of there quickly. Suzu to negate the shatter, but is it enough? No! Even though that wasn't enough, Kobe does go down. Kobe still goes down.
Yeah, Kobe goes down, but the fight at least goes their way. As Auburn stop the bleeding 3 minutes in. But yeah, that flank, that might have just won them at least a very nice advantage in this series. That just completely threw off Auburn. They had no idea that was happening. Connecticut now will start to push up. Auburn can't push in too aggressively quite yet, as they are still waiting for Kobe to re-enter the fight, and this will just be back in the neutral here near mid with the flux in the hand here from Kobe. They won't have their artillery strike this time though to combo.
No, they won't. And also, I want to just mention OB Chicken going over to the Mora, being the aggressor, throwing in that damage orbit, and going with the coalescence from that long range. And to be fair, should have worked, but that May wall coming in from Utica did help his team stay alive a little bit longer. Was a favorable trade for UConn, but Utica going down by Obese Chicken is going to force him to retreat. That once lead they had is starting to falter just a little bit, slowly but surely at a time. Only 45 meters out to make this back into an even, making this back to an even push, and even gain to the objective, to the second point, be so imperative. Obese Chicken a little bit out position there, and getting picked off. But you're Moira, you can at least get there a little bit faster than most other people.
It is still going to at least cause a little bit of hesitancy, though, with Auburn. They won't be able to be at full force, and you wonder if Namugi will try and use their ult as soon as they pop it. They're just not even going to try and push it. No, now let's say we got near 45 meters. We have to wait here for Obese Chicken to come back, and you still will lose Kobe, as Connecticut will not allow them that time to hesitate, and they will take advantage.
Alright, we do have a 1v1 going with Namugi and Eclipse. Eclipse popping the overclock, and Namugi trying to get a nice sneaky headshot there, but not giving enough to actually secure the kill. So, oh, you're still here. Why? There you go.
There you go.
I thought the TP had already happened. Completely my bad. But at least you get to regroup Auburn gets to regroup, gets Kobe off of the Sigma, going over to Orisa, which we have seen that pick come out a couple of times tonight, and for good reason. Orisa very strong, survivable, does not die very quickly. Overclock being used by Riptide, but where is the team is the question here, and we found them off in the off around the fountain. So getting some really good picks here is exactly what we needed to bot back in our favor. Nels, oh, Nels is hiding, and Nels is found out.
No way they don't get seen. They will get far spawn, and so will Rich now that they've died, and this might turn into something for Auburn, as they should be able to get at least some barricade progress here after that fight, as Nelson Rich will be sent to the back spawn, and they will get eerily close to that tick being achieved and a tie being on the horizon. Artillery strike is going to be used to scout and force out beat.
Yeah, forcing out B might be the really good option here. Do we have any other openers? We do have Coalescence to open up anything, but we do have the big slam coming from Ridge, and that kind of just cleans up the rest of Auburn. We do only have 3 people for back on the around the bot. Can we do anything about it? We're really, really staggered away. Oh no. How will they get out? We do have Soldier Slide.
Don't know if they do get out here. I think they're just going to try and stall this. But yeah, I don't think Auburn are able to get out. They will not, as it will be the fight turning around. And honestly, the fact that Tiz guys was able to force the Suzu use from Namugi on themselves allows them to finish off Kobe. It is not able to be used on them during Blizzard. And Auburn just barely not able to get that tick and to force the tie. Remember, that bot, I don't believe, made any progress after tick. Or if so, it was very minimal. So Auburn now in a nice position. 3.5 minutes to go. These next few fights will be massive. UConn are going to be very content with just winning a fight, losing a fight, and allowing the spot just to go back and forth near the middle of the map. Yep,
for sure. In terms of old comment, we do have Terror Surge up on the ready. Has to utilize the Fortify, get some Isis Fry Boot to get some extra healing. We have back our armor. We have a little bit more worth right now to be in the front line against Rich, who is very smaller. As you know, of course, we have a May coming in from the extra damage, getting the wall off, and thankfully not able to actually follow through with that, allowing this team fight to go on even longer, allowing Eclipse to get yet another overclock. No dice though, everyone able to kind of get out of the line of sight of that even longer, and then again, Rich Riptide coming in with his own overclock, and then the Terror Surge to boot. We are just pressing a whole lot of Qs. We have Kitsune. We did just have a sound barrier as well. Everyone's throwing everything. We need to win the fight is what we're saying. Beautiful double headshot from Namugi on Eclipse, and that should secure Auburn with the bot. Oh, and with only 5 meters to go to exceed University of Connecticut, this is so doable for Auburn University.
Connecticut going to try and get back fast and deny at least this bot from hitting that tick, as they will be. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. They're going to try and stall it out from Bridge, which forces Kobe to at least push the high ground initially, and now makes Connecticut drop. Artillery strike will be sent in with the Koa as well being used, and Rich is forced to all over in awkward spots, but the Blizzard actually will be able to be the first thing to claim a kill.
And that's insane. We didn't have the Suzu. We didn't have a Fortify either to get out of the Blizzard, so that was just a really easy cleanup for each of to initiate with that Blizzard. Gain the bot back in their favor. Almost. One more contester.
Yeah,
we do have. Here we go. Yeah, okay, Namugi. Do it again.
It's the supports. True Light and Shatter got nothing. Actually, no, it got Riptide, and they're able to finish it off quickly. Spawn advantage still in favor of UConn at this point, just due to where the bot is. You wonder, do Auburn try and fight this, or do they try and regroup? Kobe's back. They're going to try and at least give this one more shot.
This was an absolute clutch by Namugi and Obese Chicken under that bridge. Everyone just able to contest as long as possible until at least our tank did come back. Nelson's also back for the side of UConn. So we are pretty much at full power here. The Kitsune Rush to enter the scene, reduce cooldowns. You have a lot of and more movement speed as well after the Kitsune. So this is so good for Auburn University to just take this almost lead and run with it. They almost have a Terror Surge being utilized. Nels and Rich do falter. Eclipse using the overclock, but I don't think it's going to be enough as the Brad tracks that down, and they almost gain the point. They need to get like literally 0.01 meters ahead, which
Literally,
they
yeah.
definitely
As soon
will.
as one scratch, ends.
There
There
we
we go. The lead goes into their favor now. Connecticut, who has been in control of this map in the series now for the first 9.5 minutes, will falter at the very last second and now need to bring this back. 76 meters is where it got to. Another Coalescence artillery strike already being used by Auburn as they're looking to close this one out.
All right, now this is down for University of Connecticut. They have to clear match play perfectly as we're going into overtime. And I'm not sure they're going to be able to. There we go. That's Auburn University taking it for the win. University of Connecticut could not keep up. Had a stunning beginning of Coliseo going in right around the back and even confusing me as to where they're coming from. And held the lead for up until the last minute of the game where it mattered. Auburn University bringing it right back around the checkpoint and then just securing the win with the rest of their ultimates. Beautiful, beautiful display from both teams, but it is Auburn University taking it 3-2 over University of Connecticut in this very, very stacked series.
What a series. And I want to say, I know they will play each other at least one more time down the line. Give us this every week. Like, this was one of the best series of the season so far for EGFC. And UConn, they're in the driver's seat of that map legitimately for the, 9.5 minutes, maybe 9:45 of that map. And at the dying moments, they lose that fight. Point gets ticked for Auburn. They're able to get the lead. And they have the ultimates that they built up during the stall to bring it all back around. A heartbreaker for UConn, who yet again just can't finish it on the final hurdle against one of these top teams. But of course, they're always going to stay a wild card and a dark horse for some of these games because we know what they can do. And Auburn, this escape from the kiss of death during that map, which they did not feel like they had a lot of control of. But the Orisa, as you said, paid a lot of dividends during that map, especially near the end, and the Bastion as well. So fair play to Auburn. They're bringing it around, and obviously maybe not the series they were hoping for, but definitely their end result they were seeking.
Oh, for sure. But before we close out, we do have a really quick interview after the break, so we'll be right back with that. And we are back live here. We have an interviewee, guys. Can y'all guess who it is? It is the Brad, the DPS phenomenally tonight. Brad, you there? How are we feeling after that 5-game series? Y'all feel great? How are we feeling?
No, we feel good. I mean, it's one less than last week. We had to play 6 last week because of a draw, so we're used to it. These long games.
Yeah, these long series it seems to be Auburn's specialty, even though they may not be the most comfortable. How are you guys feeling going into that map 5? Obviously, a back and forth series. UConn looked very good on the control point-esque types of maps. You guys looked very good on the escorts. So how are you guys kind of game planning going into Coliseo?
We just went with what was working. So we started out with our normal comps, and they weren't working very well, which also is due to we haven't scrimmed this week at all, so we just kind of sent it in tonight. But so yeah, we just went to that last map, pretty much going for comfort picks, and I mean we full held on circuit when I played Bastion. We went with Namu Young Kiriko, and just let Chicken do whatever he wanted on Mora or whatever Zen. So we just went with that again.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. There was definitely some unorthodox picks from you guys, especially on Coliseum. You know, we saw the Kiri Moira together, especially during that time to where, like you said, you just let Orange Chicken kind of do their thing. Do the comms change at all? It's like, all right, we know we may just have and them just doing kind of their own thing.
So Chicken, he's the GOAT. He can play tank, DPS support. He can go do what he wants whenever he wants, as long as he's letting us know when he's doing it. So he's always in the back line if he's on Mora saying who he's on. Like usually it was the BAP, but I don't know if y'all have casted any of our other games, but Chicken and we run the Kiriko Mora a little bit, where it's like Mora and our other DPS Riptide will go on the flanks while the other three just kind of hold main, and we wait and wait until we just all go in at the same time. So it's something we practice, even though it does look very odd to viewers.
Yeah, I know, it for sure looks a little bit odd, but I'm a humongous fan of odd picks, so please, I was having a blast watching you guys. Now, for the last question of the day, please, before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast? Could be anyone on your team, could be your personal family, your school. Who comes to mind?
I'm just gonna shout out my teammates because this is my last semester. So Charles, he's been with us this last 3 years, been our rock. He shows up to everything on time when he can. Chicken was a blessing. He showed up first playing tank, then he played DPS one semester, and then now he's on his actual role support. But he can play all three. Kobe, top 20 tank. He puts in the work, and we picked up Riptide and Namugi this semester, and they've improved so much from the start to now. So I'm proud of all those guys and what they've done.
That's awesome. That's especially with, hey, your last semester, what a way to go out. You know, we got one more game left for the fall split, but definitely not something to be ashamed of the way you're exiting. Thank you so much, Brad, for the interview, and good luck in your final game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks.
As that will be it for us tonight. Obviously, a beautiful series. Hey, shout out to Brad. You got one game left, but what a way to pretty much end your career. We'll have to see how they can do it next week. You know, we've had two people say, like, this might be their final game on this stream tonight, and it's been a little, as a college senior myself, it's a little odd to think of it that way, but it's been awesome to see them spring out here and have some incredible performances in some of their final games.
Yeah, no, for sure. But just speaking of final, that's it for the broadcast. Please tomorrow catch us on over on EGF again for CSGO and Valorant. And if you want some more Overwatch action, I believe our sister channel on official EGF is still playing the last match of the day of Overwatch. I lied, it just ended. So that's it for us. Please again tune in tomorrow for CSGO and Valorant. That's it for us. Please follow us on our socials. Shout out to production as always, giving us a couple of laughs, a couple of cries, and being overall a great guy. See you guys next time.